Okay, do we have sound now?
Yes, there we go.
Perfect.
Oh, see, if we can do this, guys, you can do this.
How many presidential diamonds does it take to run, actually, how many presidential double diamonds does it take to run a webinar?
Exactly. That is so great. So we're just going to start over because now that we have our audio issue figured out, let's roll. So as I was speaking to just the four of us in this room, my name is Justin Harrison, and we're honored and privileged that you have chosen to spend a few minutes with us today, actually a couple hours for those of you who are going to be with us the whole time. We are recording this, by the way. We realize that there are many that could not be on the live session with us throughout the world. So this is being recorded and will be posted in the Empowered Success section of doTERRA.
You want to say that again?
Shoot, yeah, I'm not going to say that too fast. It could come out totally wrong. We could have an Elise Shedevy moment, inside joke, right? Anyway, this will be posted to the Empowered Success website shortly upon completion, so we'll make sure everybody knows when that happens. My wife and I have been with doTERRA since day one, over 10 years now, and it's been an amazing journey of health and healing and literally seeing the lives of millions of people around the world change for the better, and that's been our biggest reward by far. And we welcome you. Realize that many of you are brand new to doTERRA, brand new to our business. Maybe some of you have been using the product for a long time, and you're just now embracing the business side. So we have in this room a powerhouse panel that is going to be sharing information with you, and so I'm going to pass the next introduction to Laura Jacobs.
Well, good morning, Justin. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here together. Gosh, what good company I'm in, not only the folks in the room, the folks online. You know, I joined doTERRA when there was about 1,100 of us. That was a long time ago. I was a few months old and had an opportunity, thank you to Natalie Goddard, who's also here, who's my enroller, who brought to me this doTERRA opportunity. I remember starting out with just a passion for essential oils, and I had been using oils for, 10, 12, 13 years at that point, and had not found a passion because they weren't giving me what I thought they should, and goodness, like, what an experience. They just won my heart so rapidly and just turned around and started sharing, and again, thanks to Natalie, had an opportunity together to be the 5th and 6th founder in the U.S. market, and to see where we are in 10 years and to see where we've come to as far as polishing our act. And what's beautiful is we totally created amazingness flying by the seat of our pants because we had a passion for the oils, we had a story in our heart, and out the door we went with the courage. And that's really where you're at when you're launching your business, right? Is you've had some experiences with the product and you're filled with that enthusiasm and you can't wait to run out the door and share it with those you love. And so we're excited to infuse that concept with you here today.
Absolutely. Okay, hi. My name is Casey Vaudry, and I've been with doTERRA 8 years. Gosh, I absolutely love it. And like everyone in the room, when I started, we also didn't have anything. So we just played and shared our story, loved on the oils, and just really became part of a mission of getting the oils into the hands of everyone that we knew. So I'm so grateful to be here and share with you how to launch your business. We're super excited. We put a lot of love and energy into this program, and we look forward to sharing it with you.
Yeah. What a powerful experience to be able to be together today and celebrating this, because yes, we all have our history, right? Our experiences in doTERRA, but no matter who you are, no matter where you are in your journey, what's beautiful is today we've dialed in this process of launching your business, and I'm so excited for you to experience that. I'm Natalie Goddard, and just honored to be in this room with these amazing creators and with you, because you're on an incredible journey. I love how Dave Sterling just said at convention, we're catching a whole new wave, and you're on the front of that wave. You are catching that wave, and what a great time to be launching your business. So we're just celebrating you This is an incredible process. This is the core of all ranks in doTERRA. And so really powerful place to begin and understand this key rank, right? Every rank is built off this initial rank of elite. And so we're going to dive in. It's our intention today that you know clearly how to launch your business and you have the courage and strength to move forward and be able to do just that.
Awesome. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Casey. And Laura, a few comments that have come in just for clarity. Unfortunately, y'all did not get to see our lovely faces this morning. I did not put my makeup on. So perhaps we'll post some pictures in the recording so that you can see us on our A game. So you're just going to see the content, the presentation as we share and talk about it, and we'll go from there. So.
Sweet, let's dive in. Just as we, again, welcoming you to this process.
Should we discuss how we're utilizing this in general? I think it's important to understand that what we're showing you right now is the PowerPoint so that you can go out and create your own launch camp with your team. So we're going to do an online version for you today, but you definitely could be doing this in a classroom setting or a small group setting. So what you're going to see today is we're going to play around with the scripting and the PowerPoint so that you can actually feel as if you're in the launch camp experience.
And we're going to start out just with intentions so that we can all be clear and make the most out of this time together. So again, our intention is that you leave educated and empowered and clear about what to do. But why are you here? Take just a moment and drop into these questions. Why are you here? What do you want to leave today knowing? And what do you want to leave today feeling? So if you'll just grab a pen and paper and take a moment to get clear about your intention for today.
Guys, we're still here with you. So just take a moment and look through these 3 questions and identify what it is that you're hoping to leave with today.
Mm-hmm. So as you get clear here, we invite you to act on what you learned today, and you'll experience the results that these proven principles will bring into your life and your doTERRA business. So just an invitation to play full out so that your intentions are met. Be present, be focused. Maybe right now you eliminate distractions and, turn that phone on airplane mode, step away from it, and just dive in with us here so we can have a lot of fun together and get you set on the right footing as you launch your doTERRA business. So as we dive in, we want to just come back to the commitment that you made initially, so that you can get really anchored to that.
You know, the build guide is such an important piece of breathing life into this opportunity that we call doTERRA. And every builder deserves an opportunity to see what the build guide has to offer. And it essentially takes a person through a set of decisions. And so we're going to assume from you, if you've chosen to show up here for launch training on how to launch your business, that you have made a commitment. So our desire is to help you anchor that commitment in reviewing just a few things from the build guide that we feel are super important to remind ourselves as we go through this experience. So on this particular page of build, page 3, there's this beautiful opportunity to choose into a partnership with doTERRA. You know, each of us truly are the CEO of our own business, and we run our own business. You know, we get 1099s, that we're officially in tax status running our own business, and we're partnering with someone who does many, many aspects of our business in doTERRA. And so reminding ourselves of that partnership and what it is that we're anchoring ourselves to by way of quality products that we can stand behind. You know, there's so much we can say there about 96% proprietary sourcing, 11 different ways to test our oils to demonstrate and prove that they literally are certified pure therapeutic grade, and that we literally can answer to the question, well, can't you just get this stuff somewhere else? That we've got these kinds of things in our pocket, that we understand the collective experience of our owners of nearly 100, I hear anywhere from 120 to 150 years when you add up their experience and combine it to who we have leading at the helm of this great ship called doTERRA. And we understand the rapidity of our growth, that we compare ourselves to a few of the giants out there, and we're leading the pack on rate of growth. And then I think most important to each of us, you know, we're changing the world with our products, and we're changing the world with our products. There's nothing more humbling, right? There's nothing more humbling than to go to Haiti, or, you know, because right in the middle of this picture is a grower who's carrying, I believe, it is vetiver root on their head. And we've all been there. All 4 of us in this room have been there, and we've observed that process. And there is nothing more endearing to us than the fact that there are people across the world doing hard things, growing beautiful plants, and bringing those to us, and then capturing them, the essence of those in the bottles, and then we're able to distribute that. This is the essence of our business, is what doTERRA brings to us and allows us to be able to provide. And so just really anchoring yourself and knowing what that partnership with doTERRA means is a huge part of what you have to fuel your business. Now, inside of the build guide, after a prospective builder is introduced to the compensation plan, we come to this beautiful opportunity, right, to examine, so how do I want to play?
Yeah.
This is my favorite page of the build guide.
Yes.
My favorite page.
Yes. So tell us why, Justin. Why is it your fave?
So for you Harry Potter fans out there, you'll understand this reference, right? This is the sorting hat. This is the doTERRA sorting hat that not only helps us, but helps our team members to identify what is our level of commitment. And so I love that on this right side in particular, it will outline for people what is their level of play, okay? Which house do they want to be in? They go back to the Harry Potter reference, right? Do they want to earn enough money just to get their product for free, which is great, and what are going to be the obligations and commitment level to do that? Do they want to just supplement their income? This is the level of commitment necessary for that. Or do they want to replace their income, or if I were in New York, I'd say earn gangsta money. You know, what is it, where is it that they see themselves? And what I really love about this page is they get to self-select their level of participation and commitment so that you and I know where to focus our time and energy. And so for those of you that maybe this is your first time seeing this, we would invite you to make this choice. What is your level of commitment?
In fact, let's take you through a little exercise. So this is the bottom portion of the page with the couple looking dreamily across the lake or ocean or whatever, the sunset. And in a very simple way, as we present this opportunity, we've divided these options for dreaming bigger, right, into earning more, working smarter, and doing more of what you love. And so take a minute here and consider what would make the biggest impact in your life. And it's very possible you've already been through the build guide, you've already had this experience, but reiteration is super, super valuable. So just savor the possibility, because what you need to do is anchor your actions to a vision. And the vision is what will drive you. It's the thing that gets you out of bed in the morning. It's remembering the things that it's creating in your life. It's the reason why you're willing to get uncomfortable and maybe talk to somebody that otherwise you would have hesitated. And so take just a minute here and consider these possibilities and other things and fill in the blank for you. What are you creating with your doTERRA business success?
This is where we sing while they're ready.
So like some dreamy music.
So we have music to play for y'all, but it's causing a feedback echo. So
you're maybe thinking, never mind.
Yeah, I think, well, we'll try it from
We
here.
could hum. Natalie's got a good singing voice. Natalie, you want to break out a song?
No, I'm going to try playing it from this instead of this.
Great idea. I like that. Spooling.
There you
And
go.
this is such a fun question.
It is.
You know? When you're clear about what you're creating, you're going to create that. So what do you want it to feel like? What do you want it to be like?
Well, and the power of intention, so again, we're talking about anchoring our commitment. By powering your commitment, right, and anchoring it to your vision and fueling it, you know, because we're all about fueling our launch, right, like a rocket, and this is some of the things that's the most powerful fuel you can put in your heart and your mind. And we would invite you to get intentional about that. So let's say, for example, you chose under earning more debt-free. doTERRA has a free-to-give program that helps you go after levels of debt. So talk about, I want to pay off the car, I want to pay off the house. I literally walked out the door 20 years before, 20 years ago, let's see, 22 years ago. Let me start over. I literally walked out the door 22 years ago when I started my participation in the wellness industry with the goal to pay off our house. And it took 20 years, right? But that was a beautiful thing. Like, it happened. And doTERRA was part of that, 8 of those years, but it was an amazing thing to be able to realize that dream and to be intentional about that. It also helps you choose your level of play. So with these in mind, let's go then to the next step, what Justin lovingly calls the sorting hat. I love that. And there's no bad answer here, right? This is for you to take the previous page and look at, what did I check off? So let's kind of play this out, right? So what did I check off? Okay, I want to travel more, or I want to be out of debt, or I want to have more charitable giving. Excellent. So now how much do you need to increase the bottom line in your household in order for you to live those dreams? Is it that you want to live a more well life for you and your family? So earning your doTERRA order, like earning enough income to pay for your doTERRA order every month, fulfills that dream. So that's a perfect level of play. Let's say, Roxanne Bybee is Natalie's sister, and I think all of us are familiar with a video called Van by the River, where Roxanne was working a graveyard job, and she had little kids, and she was homeschooling. So my heart goes out to her. I can see her as a young mom. Like, I have a daughter who's a young mom. She gets tired when she gets woken up 9 times a night, right? So I'm thinking of Roxanne, who's working this part-time job to make $1,200, and what would it mean to her to choose level 2, which she did, right, which her and James chose, to get her out of that part-time graveyard job. And that was their goal. That was the level of play that they saw for themselves. And then, as Justin put it, maybe you want to do replacement income and multiply and think big. Maybe you want to...
Gangsta money.
Gangsta money, right? So maybe you're dreaming really big. Maybe for a lot of people in doTERRA top leaders, there's a lot of husbands who've been retired from careers. There's a lot of wives who wanted to change the status of their home, and doTERRA has become the vehicle for that. So we invite you to match these two things. What level of success allows you to fulfill the dreams that you just recorded on the previous page? And then we also invite you to take a look at the time commitment, that this isn't just a pie in the sky, falls out of the sky experience, that we get to commit to a certain level of play. So don't miss the fact that there's a little kind of a clock diagram that's showing you not only what goals you would want to shoot for by way of rank, but also by way of time commitment. What do you have to give to your business? And I just
what you put into it, you're
Right?
going to get out, right? So you
Well-
got to put in that time and that commitment to receive it.
And I know when I started doTERRA, I had a practice. I had 5 kids I was raising. You know, this was 10 years ago, and I was extremely busy. And what did I tell you, Natalie? I literally said, I don't have time for this, right? And I didn't. So it's something that I chose to make some time for, and I had those initial experiences. Then my commitment changed over time, right?
And that being said, it's perfect. Wherever your
Right.
commitment is today, know that, work forward with that, and know that this can change along your journey.
Totally.
Yeah,
So-
when I began, I had no interest in the business. I spent the first 2 years just purchasing every single product that the company had and sharing it with my friends and family. So it took me 2 years to really get out of that first section of get your product paid for to move into this replace your income. So be mindful and just give yourself some grace and commit to where you are today. And like Natalie said, and then move forward with that in mind.
So anchor yourself to your vision for your future. Anchor that then to a rank commitment or an income commitment, a time commitment, and then with that you can move forward. In the build guide, this is the one place in the entire Empowered Success system where we disclose to our new builder, hey, not only is there a way to earn this, but there's a way to make it happen. That we have a plan. We have a business plan. And so here it is laid out in its simplicity. What we call PIPES activities is the way with which we approach our entire business. And it's fun that it's divided into 3 sections of PIPE. The first of which is prepare. And you're preparing yourself. You're preparing your names list. You're preparing your schedule, your time commitments. You're preparing yourself by way of filling your heart with your product stories from not only your own experiences, but people in your family and those in your sphere of influence that are already using the product. You're filling your cup. You're filling your cup. Next section.
Yeah, it's invite, present, and enroll. We call this the IPing middle section, right?
Yes.
This is what you do with your prospects, right? You invite them, you present to them, you enroll them. And this is the core of what we do. This is where we really change lives, right? And this part is key. Sometimes this part gets forgotten or brushed over, but this is core to your business success and, you know, making a difference, period.
Yeah, the S is for support, and this is an area that is so important because it's follow-up, and follow-up is most often where we fall down instead of following up, right? Is getting back and making sure the team has the support, has the links to conference calls and your Facebook groups and whatever kind of activities you're doing to create your community are involved in that support. And by the way, a couple questions have come in. If you have the information in front of you, the Live, Share, Build guide, the launch guide, it would be really great to have that out and available as we're going through all this. If we were in a room together, you would all have that in your hands, right, as your course curriculum for this event this morning. So if you have them, we invite you to get them out, have them handy, because we're going to reference various pages, and
you'll be able to fill in the blanks, write down your answers.
Yeah, make it a workbook, right? Write in, make your own personal copy of each guide that you don't give away, right? And then that's your notes. Laura had one.
I don't even want to write in this. It looks so beautiful. I don't want to write in it. I'm going to use it for someone else. Let me just invite you to use it for yourself, right? So you can live it. Then you can help other people with it.
If you ever want to see Laura Jacobs in a panic, she once gave me a copy of her guide that she had put all of her notes in, and she mistakenly gave it to me. We were reviewing, and I think you called me like 2 a.m. or something like that in a panic because you were trying to find where did it go, and I had it. So
feel free to make little notes in yours as you go along so that you are just taking this in.
Well, what you're going to see is take a big view of this pipeline. Notice the world on one end, and we have a world of possibilities of people whose lives we can change. And coming out the other side of it is the income we've spoken of and changing lives. So what we focus on in our doTERRA business is changing lives, and that as a result of that, we create this pipeline, or what we call a residual income pipeline, and the Build Guide has done a beautiful job of teaching that principle when that is introduced. And Justin, thank you, right? This is our curriculum for our entire launch camp. It's right here. We're going to go through all of these areas with all of these guides and make sure you feel like you have an understanding of every part of that. I wanted to add real quick to the support section. Make note in your mind that it says your team and your community. What you're servicing in the support area is two communities. Everybody's a customer, and in doTERRA we say about 15% of people, give or take, are also interested in the opportunity. So when you're speaking to a consumer, they don't necessarily want you in team lingo mode, right? They want to hear customer mode. And so recognize you have two audiences there that you have an opportunity to serve. And here in doTERRA, our philosophy, really just to emphasize Justin's point about the value of the support, is that we are not a love them and leave them company. That lots of people are out there recruiting and finding all the time because they don't have retention. And remember back in the build guide, one of the things we talk about in our partnering with doTERRA is the potential for retention, which means equals potential for residual income. And so just have those things in your heart that we're a catch them and keep them company. And so a lot of what we're going to teach you is how do you retain the business that you start. I was just with two builders last night for dinner who started with me in doTERRA 10 years ago. Our numbers are literally like 5 digits apart. And we were celebrating the number of people that we enrolled 10 years ago that are still consumers today. And the steadiness of that influence is so powerful.
That's so powerful that we, as partnering with doTERRA, we come into that culture and that philosophy with a powerful product and with doTERRA's powerful retention. That makes it so this process, this is all we do. And it's very, very simple, but some people in other network marketing don't even understand that concept, right? They're like, oh, this is like putting the plug in the bathtub because I don't have to re-enroll all these people that are leaving month after month after month. It's so powerful.
We wouldn't want to do this business if that was the case, right?
No. So a little moment of history and time. If you're saying to yourself, so how do we do catch them and keep them? How do we do this different in doTERRA? In an iconic moment, the first ever leadership training that doTERRA ever had, Justin Harrison, who we have the privilege of being in the room with, actually gave us what we would call our lather, rinse, repeat recipe here in doTERRA. So Justin, this is all you.
Woo-hoo!
Share this with us.
This is it. This is the whole event. After this slide, you can just go to work.
It's true.
It's true. This is, we're going to go through a lot of content, but really it all sums up on this slide right here. We use our products. Obvious, right? We should all be our own best customer. There should not be a tube of toothpaste from Crest or Colgate or any of those other brands. I know I'm not supposed to name brand names, but you know what I mean. There should not be different shampoos in the shower, right? You be your own best customer, number one. Number two, we're going to share because we love what we have because it's changed our lives. And then number three, we're going to teach what we've experienced because there's a lot of people seeking solutions, and we know that we can help in most areas of their lives. And that is the whole cycle. And then repeat that. You share, teach, repeat. You share, teach, repeat. And thanks for coming, guys. It was a great day. Glad you could be with us. And this was a shorter class than we planned. Just kidding. We have a lot more to cover, but this does really sum it up.
Okay, so that was really cool. Use, share, teach, repeat, right? Mm-hmm. So one of the things that we're always looking for in everything we do in doTERRA, when you share an oil with someone, and they experience what you're teaching them, will they walk away from a moment and say, I can do that? And our intention for today is that in the time that we're together and the things that we'll share amongst ourselves, that you will moment after moment after moment say to yourself, I can do that. Mm-hmm. So the first grand experience of the day is, can you do what Justin just said? Use, share,
teach, and repeat.
Okay.
The repeat's really important, by the way.
Okay. A little bit about the Empowered Success System, right? So you saw the PIPES chart there out of the build guide displaying not only what PIPES is, but also that there's guides that accompany that. And so we call this whole thing that we're doing here, Dave Sterling said we have 3 gears that move our business, the gear of people, the gear of product, and the gear of the business. So this is the gear of running the business, which is Empowered Success.
And what's beautiful about Empowered Success is it just brings together the proven principles that have worked to build that business across cultures, across languages, these are things that you can trust. So you don't need to trip up. For how many years did we trip up, right?
Mhm.
You have this dialed in for you today by way of empowered success.
And it's so beautiful to be able to have a program that's marketed for us, that's created for us by, experts from lots of different fields, including our own field, to be able to bring this content to you. So you don't have to search. In the beginning, we were searching through 15 different programs trying to piecemeal these products so that we could present in a way that worked for us. So I just feel so fortunate that we get to present to you a program that's created, that you can trust, and you can know that it's been formulated by experts from all different
by
fields.
the field,
Yeah.
for the field, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And Casey, some are asking where do they find the materials. So there you go.
This is it.
Right. You go to doTERRA.com, look under our advocates, and then you'll see the empowered success there, and you can go from there into each of the tools that's available, and you can download them right there on the spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you can purchase them, and I would recommend both. I would recommend having a copy downloaded in case you need it, and then purchasing them. It's crazy to me how affordable these are. doTERRA clearly doesn't really make any money on this stuff because the pricing is so low for 10 and 20 packs of these tools and guides.
So
And
it's cheaper to buy with your LRP and
Yeah.
have it beautiful and printed so that your
Yeah.
approach, right? Our approach matches our powerful product. And these tools are powerful. But if you're just talking to someone online, you can just download it and share it with them.
They're
And,
PDFs, you can email them.
Mhm.
Well, and I think it's important to realize that our business from start to finish is experiential. And so having an oil in your hand and smelling it is very different than someone just telling you about it. And so when somebody has a guide in their hands, take the Healthy Can Be Simple guide, for example. It is a book of possibilities. And if somebody has it in their hand and they start flipping pages, they're going to find themselves in those pages. Same with the Live guide. They're going to find themselves in the lifestyle that's before them. And so handing that to someone and making this a tangible experience whenever possible is fantastic. Now, just in case you're feeling amiss, because you weren't back in the day when Casey said we had nothing, right? And we were flying by the seat of our pants, and Natalie, we were making up little Word docs that were pretty ugly, remember? Right?
Yep.
Then what I just want to offer something to all of you that what's super cool about being 10 years in and being where we are and having this level of organization is what we started with from the beginning is we're inviting you to have a life of freedom, time freedom, financial freedom, travel freedom. And so you're welcome to go back to the dark ages or the caveman stage and make up everything
Totally
yourself.
figure it out
Yeah.
yourself.
Totally. We invite you if you want to
Don't do
go
it.
it the hard way. If you could just understand with the simple pictures that sit in front of you, the wisdom of the ages of people who brought epic value to this project so that each of us, here as a presidential double diamond, I want you to know that I am heavy recruiting right now. I am heavy building because it's never been easier and it's never been more fun. And you can get to the point where your team's pretty big and you have lots of people and you don't necessarily wake up in the morning and say, I can do that with new people. But I want you to know I get out of bed every morning going, I can do this because I feel the simplicity of it and I feel that the capacity to breathe life into this process is so streamlined and effective. So we just want to share with you our passion for the value of what you have here and just let's stick now with where we are. So this is a review.
Just on the guides, we'll mention some of those guides are already translated. You're going to find more guides translated. So this can work for you, whether your team is in your backyard, English speaking, or if they're speaking other languages, you can access these and still share them.
And that allows us to have a seamless training system across the world, doTERRA. So as you see before you, it's the same exact image that we showed you from the build guide. And we just want to take a principle. This actually came out of Harvard. And some of the greatest minds of Harvard are teaching us to look at the things in our life, like even your dining room table is something you hire to do a job for you, right? It's hired to be a gathering space in your home. Each of the guides are part of your staff. And there's something that you hire or a tool to help you build that pipeline that's producing the things that you dream of. So let's go through and talk about each guide just briefly and the job that it's been hired to do.
This is so powerful because even if you don't have enough money to hire an assistant or da-da-da, like just with these guides, you're going to have the most powerful supports that you can have to do the key jobs that we do in doTERRA. So the Healthy Can Be Simple guide, it just helps you share and invite. It's all set up for that. Powerful. The class is going to help you enroll prospects. That's its job.
And the Live, Share, and Build guide are designed to help you enroll people in LRP, commit to build, and commit to host.
Launch is to help all of you reach elite as quickly as possible. And we're going to spend most of our time today in the launch guide while referencing different parts of the Live, Share, and Build guides as well.
I don't know about all of you, but I cannot quit smiling just looking at this.
She's so happy.
I'm so happy I can't even speak. I just feel so grateful that we have these tools to use and to be able to build our business with. And I remember just in the beginning when we would teach classes or we would share a product, and what would end up happening is people would go home and they would text us at 2 o'clock in the morning asking us questions about the compensation plan or what they can make in their business. And it's just such a beautiful relief to know that we can give them or send them home with tools so that they can turn around and do exactly what we're doing.
Why it's called empowered success, right? We're really empowering people. So you're going to be so empowered today, and you have all these tools to help you empower others simply.
So let's remind ourselves where we are, right? We've been in the Build guide, and we've now reached the last couple pages of Build. And we want you to see where you are in the system and intentionally, how's the flow, generally speaking, for someone who's launching a business. So you saw the pipes diagram, and initially somebody comes in as a consumer. Everybody's a consumer. To Natalie Goddard as her frontline leader, I'm a consumer every month with an LRP order. And so we want to make sure this is a checklist in Build to ensure that the builder, which is you, that we're talking to today, we want to make sure that you have had a natural solutions presentation experience, that you get the basics of essential oils and doTERRA and how to use them in your home and the categories that they fit into your lifestyle. We want to make sure that you've had a lifestyle overview and you understand the value of the wellness lifestyle that doTERRA teaches through our wellness pyramid, and you understand how our products are positioned and can be used in those aspects of your life. And then next, share. Share is that experience of inviting you to make that initial names list and get used to the aspects of hosting a presentation and setting you up for success there, bringing in your sphere of influence and thinking about people that you know that would be blessed by this process of, living this lifestyle. And then lastly, because obviously, again, we're in the Build guide, so we're not showing the Build guide as part of the process, we're coming to launch. So we're saying to you here today, hey, here's where we are in this process, that the expectation is in a builder's experience, we would hope by now when we're going into launch that you've seen Live, Natural Solutions, and Share, and you've had those experiences. Now we're going to review a few of those things, but just know that's where
the
we're
foundation
at in the process.
that you're going to build on, right? Because with that foundation, you're ready to launch. And the launch guide is going to take you through that process to launch to elite.
So remember again, it's job, right, is the job title. We gave that guide. And so here we are. Now you see a pipe spread again, and you think to yourself, this looks pretty familiar. And you're right, there's just a few changes. One, in every rank guide, which the launch guide is the first of the series, each pipe spread in a rank guide serves also as a table of contents. So if you look closely here, you're going to see a listing under each of the pipes activities with a title that is, this is the curriculum of this rank. So this is what we'll spend the rest of our day on, is going through this curriculum and then see how each of the guides fit into that process.
And above that here, where you see the bottle of oil, you're going to notice this is a key stage and time for you to focus in on your belief in the product. Keep having experiences with the product. Keep using, different parts of the product line. And then your action is very clear. The guide itself is going to show you how to share with 45 plus, enroll 15, and launch 1 to 3 builders, and that's your focus here. And through this process, you're going to change lives, grow personally, and create some amazing residual income. So this is an incredible process. You can see the big vision here and a little bit even the timeline, right? So prepare and invite. Sometimes, that's key to happen before your launch month. maybe October is your launch month. Great. You can do the prepare and invite parts in even less than 24 hours. You can do that in a few hours if you focus in. But this will keep you on target with the actions to get launched.
I think that's so critical, Natalie, that a lot of people maybe miss this, is that the secret to the successful launch month, the month that you're going to go elite, that you're going to shoot for premier, silver, whatever your goal is, that actually starts before, right? It's before that month. It's the prep time. If you are deciding on day one of the new month, well, let's see, what are we going to do this month to go elite, then you've already missed the boat, right? It's going to be harder. I'm not saying you can't do it, because you can, but it's going to be way more effective and way more probable if you implement that 1 to 2 week pre-launch that's there. It's so, so important.
So one of the things that's the most important about that process, because truly you could decide in a minute to just do this and get going.
Totally.
The primary reason for the 1 to 2 weeks lead time is people schedule their lives out. Now, you might be willing to be Johnny on the spot. It's your prospects that we're the most cognizant here, is what are your prospect schedules and how much can they work with you on the fly. So by planning a week or two, and generally doesn't have to be further out than that, but planning those times that you've set aside in your life to offer those natural solutions presentations, and then making sure that they can set aside that time, that's the critical part. So even again, you're in your launch month, then right now you're looking ahead and you're planning things out for that, the following weeks in the month of October or wherever you're at.
I love this, because if we just dial it into what are the 5 steps to launch, it's the same steps that the whole Empowered Success system is built on. It's always going to be, the answers are, it always is going to be prepare, invite, present, enroll, and support. And it's no different in launching your business.
And it really doesn't change no matter what rank you're shooting for. So when you start to look at the other guides moving forward, after you've hit elite and you're moving to, silver or gold or diamond, you're going to be doing the same exact activity.
Yeah. So it's just honing in on a different aspect of that. So as we dive into this step 1, we look close at what it is to prepare us in launch.
I love this part. This is such, there's a great quote that I heard recently that your preparation for your action is as important or more important than your action. So we can't say too much about preparing. So if you'll turn to page 4 in your launch guide, we come to this Feel Your Launch page. Now we kind of have some fun with some rocket analysis here, and if you study rockets, they say it takes 80% of its fuel to get off the ground, right? And then you're creating a momentum. I love that Casey brought up the repeated pattern of pipes throughout all the ranks, because it's on the rank of elite that really all of doTERRA's success is founded. And so getting this recipe down, it's going to be what Justin said. That's where the repeat's going to come in, right? Is you're going to turn after you hit your goal, and you're going to turn and support other people in hitting theirs. So really understanding how to fuel a launch is such a great experience. So one of the things we want to help you recognize is pay attention to the 3 sections on the upper portion of this page. The first column is success begins with you. Now there are 3 things here that are stated on this page that are an essential part of success. First of all, if you're going to do this, would you like to get paid? Right? And so because we get fast start money and we get monthly checks, it's absolutely imperative without exception that you consistently have a 100 PV or greater LRP template set. Now, of course, the day before your order runs, you can go in and you can change it. Nevertheless, it must always contain 100 PV in your template, right? That holds you in a commitment space, so you can always be subject to earning.
Yeah, that's so powerful to get set up right that way, so you never have to wonder about that. And that's just in place. And next, you're going to want to implement a daily wellness plan. People will feel if you really use the product, and if you're a product of the product, they'll feel that, right? So you implementing that into your daily life is going to be key. So as you pop into the Live Guide, on page 16, it's going to take you through that daily wellness plan so you can set that up, right? So you can see how each of these pieces are coming together to support you.
And we're kind of having a duality of experience here. We're talking to you as the consumer that you are, and that developing that relationship with yourself as a consumer in doTERRA is an important part of how you launch, because being a product of the product is what gives you the courage to go out and share this with other people and invite them to do the same. Notice here, because we're going to talk about it, that the Live Guide, remember, is part of your staff, and its job is to enroll people in LRP. Now, in the words of one of our great leaders in doTERRA, this is the second enrollment, and this is the magic. This is the secret sauce in doTERRA, which is why our retention is so high. It's why we have such solid residual income. Again, I can't even say enough about looking back over 10 years and seeing what we did those many years ago and how it's
Can you imagine if we would have had this 10 years ago? Even 5 years ago?
we still
Even
have
3 years ago?
$5 billion
we still have such huge staying power. So there's some very specific things that this guide is designed to do for you, so don't rob yourself of that experience. Make sure you're having that and then pay that forward.
And this is going to show you more of how you can bring these products into your life and begin up-leveling your own wellness, right? Love this wellness pyramid. It's so key to what we do.
It is the foundation of our entire experience in doTERRA, right? Focusing primarily on lifestyle. And you'll see that the guide follows along. The Live Guide follows each section. And we're not going through each section today in this course, but we would invite you to do that if you haven't. And also, for those of you that have teams that are up and established already and running, we would invite you to make sure that your team members have gone through the Live Guide as well, because we've discovered that many of our existing customers and even wellness advocates haven't done this process yet. And it really does walk through, these are the products I need to have, like the Life and Vitality, in eating right. These are the products that are going to help with my exercise and weight management. These are the products that help with my rest, sleep, managing stress, reducing toxic load, and so forth, right? So it really builds to the LRP. And, I love it when people, and Casey, I'm sure you've heard this, I just don't know how I would ever use $100 a month in product, right? Don't you love that question? Yeah. It's just like, okay, well, soon you're going to say, I don't know how I could keep it under 200, right? And that's going to be more of the reality for sure. And it's just because they don't know yet, right? So this creates that opportunity to go through and have that experience and have a wellness consult, which is included in the Live Guide, and really zero in on the products they should be using.
Mm-hmm. And I think the wellness pyramid really is the beauty of why we love doTERRA so much, is that it focuses on the whole you. So it's not just focusing on one aspect, it's the entire package, which I just feel so fortunate to be able to share. So make sure that you are really confident and comfortable with this when you're speaking to people about what to add in their LRP or the products that are right for their family.
And the last part of this success begins with you is just learn more by regularly using an oil reference guide. And so whether that's a physical book that you have to use or an app that you can access, do that and participate in continuing education so that your product knowledge is just increasing. Do you need to know everything? No. Please don't wait till you know everything. None of us would even be doing doTERRA, right?
Right.
But the truth is, if you'll just start with what you know, that's enough. And just keep continuing that as you go so you can keep empowering people more and more. So now we transition into Sharing Changes Lives. And the Share Guide is going to be so key for you here. The job of the Share Guide is committing to host and helping someone to commit to host. But you should know the Share Guide is the heart of what we do in doTERRA. You've had someone share the oils with you, and you know what a powerful part that is in this process. We call the Share Guide the soft launch guide, and it's going to help you become more prepared to share, right? It's going to help you become more capable to share. And also as you use it with other people, it's going to be this filter so that you can see those that are committed and capable as well. Super easy to share what you love with those you love, and this Share Guide keeps it really simple so that you can be preparing that list to invite to classes or one-on-ones. and just see the results of that sharing.
Can I just comment on this really quickly, Natalie? We are so blessed in doTERRA to have the product that we have, because so many companies, it's not that their products are bad, they're generally not, but it's so much more effort to sell, right, the product, because you've got to really explain, or really, I mean, it's just a lot of work, right? And because of our product line and the efficacious nature of the essential oils and the fact that they work often immediately, it just makes our job so much easier, and which is part of the reason for our high retention rates, right? And so we are all huge consumers of the product. You know, it's not like if you went to go buy a car and you went to a Ford dealership and the Ford salesman, you see him leave later and he's driving off in a Chevy, you know, and nothing against Chevys, but wouldn't you like wonder, like, wait a minute, you know, you're selling Ford, you're driving a Chevy, this doesn't add up. Well, that doesn't happen here. You are guaranteed that every leader in this company, of which you are one, we are sharing because we love the results and benefit of the product.
So as we dive deeper here into share, it's just 3 simple things. We simply share, right? And you know, you hear people talk about the product sells itself. Well, that's because you just share the product and people want it and they can feel the power of it. And then you invite, and then you simply remind. And that is the key to our inviting pipe. It's that simple. And this page in share, the whole white section at the top takes you through that step by step with some sample scripts. You'll see all the blue text, that's sample scripts. So if you're thinking, I don't know exactly where to go with this, well, it's laid out for you there. You can just read that, customize it a little bit, or read it word for word when you're on the phone.
And I think when we talk, you know, commonly I get asked, well, how do you share? And my instant response is just listen. So I feel like people commonly speak about the things that are going on in their life. So they like to speak about their emotional well-being, their physical well-being, their financial well-being, and we truly have a solution for all of those. So all I ask of you and ask of my team members is just to listen. And that makes the sharing process really, really simple. And then you get to start applying the oils and really working your magic.
If I could just make one point of emphasis here, if there's any one skill, and I'm sure, ladies, you would agree with this, if there's any one skill, just one, that you could really master and really get good at, that will just cause your business to thrive, that's inviting, right? Sharing, inviting, same thing, right? Inviting someone to a class, inviting someone to have a product experience, inviting someone to a webinar, a conference call, to a meeting, whatever it is, that skill of inviting, and that's why these scripts are so helpful. And then we've taken it a step further, and we even have some great inviting tools, right? Like the Healthy Can Be Simple.
Right. Justin, can you go back one? I want to just hit on the sharing part. If you understand how, you know, we know it's natural, right? But these are some of the ways that you can share, right? You can share just a little bit of your story. You can put an oil on someone. You know, I always have oils in my purse, so I've got that ready and set so I can give someone an oil experience. Sometimes you might have a sample prepared or drop off a sample to someone, and then sharing online. Like, you know, right now we have incredible online content that we can share, right? You could share segments of convention if you wanted to share that.
That's right. They're available right now.
Yeah. But that is basically getting integrated into your life, and you can share that anytime, anywhere. Just be prepared, right? So this is going to be a key part for you. For this to come naturally, you just need to be prepared. So you've got those oils in your purse. Maybe you have a little keychain with samples prepared so you can share from that, or you've got some doTERRA prepackaged samples there for you. And maybe you've got a list of your favorite videos that you can share. I just have, hey, these are my go-tos, right? doTERRA's YouTube channel is an incredible place to find that. So you can just keep priming people all the time so that sharing is happening. That's going to help you build trust and make connections so that we just get people in the seats, as you would say, Justin.
That's right. Butts in the seats.
And
What?
this Healthy Can Be Simple guide is a super simple way to share along with this process. We use this on airplanes, use this in dropping off samples. It's going to teach a very basic, I mean, this is like the essentials of a class right here on this very first spread.
Right. What I love about this is the whole purpose of it is really to create curiosity. Right? You don't want to give too much, right? Because then they don't want to know more. And the most important thing we want is we want them to know more. We want them to want more. We want them to know more too. That's right.
Yeah.
So it's just really a teaser, right? This is a teaser. So this accompanied with a sample, and there's a lot of pages in this little booklet that go through various different aspects of our health, right? But it's super, super effective. And then here's an example of one of them. You've got one side talking about immune support, another side talking about green cleaning. I know there's 7 or 8 different themes throughout the little booklet. Again, just to spark curiosity. And then ultimately, the back page is the invitation, right? It's the, this is my information, this is how to connect, these are the essential oils that we've talked about for whatever the issue is that maybe that person is having.
A sample of,
right,
and how to use it. This is great just to drop off with those samples because then you've got it built in.
Yeah, and then one thing here, just a tip, as you're sharing this with someone and sharing a sample or a tool, make sure that you collect their information. That's very important. I can't tell you how many of us, myself included, have missed that one. And we'll give away oils and samples, and we'll think, gosh, I'd like to reach out to them, but I don't have any of their contact info, so I can't do it. So it's really important to not give any of this away without getting an email or cell number or some kind of contact information so that you can come full circle and make sure they use the product, the sample you left them, they watched the video, to come back and follow up.
In our day, phone and text is a really powerful way to follow up. And so what I love to do is just say, hey, can I grab your phone number so I can send you a little video that you're going to enjoy?
Exactly.
And that becomes a really easy way to get that phone number and have that to follow up.
Yeah, I want to send you a video clip.
Yep.
Can
Without sounding threatening.
Can I text you a video clip? And everyone, it's not threatening, and
Exactly.
This is especially effective for men when talking to women, right? Because we don't want to come across as in a way that we're not trying to come across, right?
Right.
And so it's just, we want to keep it very low key, very casual. Hey, I'd love to send you a little video clip. Can I text it to you? Or if they don't want to text, we can email it to them as well. So
it's crucial that you make sure that you tell them how to use the oils. I don't know how many times I've given out a sample and I'll follow up, and in the heat of the moment, you're so excited about sharing lavender or deep blue, and then they get home with the sample and they have no idea. They instantly put it on the bottom of their feet, even though their neck hurts. So it's like, make sure that you give them clear direction, every 3 hours, apply, or whatever you recommend.
What we think is understood isn't always understood.
That's
so
right.
Fill in that how to use section. And then we move right into sharing your story. This is one of the powerful parts of sharing, and sometimes you might just be on the phone and not be able to get oils on someone, but you can share your story in that moment. So in shaping your story, you're going to frame the glory in that story, right? The breakthrough, where you moved from pain to breakthrough, right? And so I love how this page in the share guide is going to prepare you for that, and it just asks you these questions. So we want to give you this experience to shape your story right now. And so we're going to take a few minutes so that you can answer these questions and get really clear on your story. In the end, we're going to take the time to just write out these answers, and then you can shape that into your story. So first, just take a minute to answer these questions.
And we won't be playing music because it feedbacks. Sorry.
Da, 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 da.
That's right.
Not Jeopardy.
That's right. I would just, as you're reading these questions, I don't want to interrupt too much, but just a couple of tidbits. When sharing our stories, we want them to be short. That's important, I think, because I don't know if any of you ever had someone, take 10 minutes to tell you a story that could have been told in 30 seconds. It becomes too much. And so it needs to be short. It needs to be factual. The truth is good enough. It really is. There's no need to exaggerate. Yeah, you did not take Slim and Sassy and lose 30 pounds in 3 hours. It did not happen, right? And so to be factual in the information that you're sharing, the truth is absolutely good enough. And then be relevant in the story that you're sharing. I mean, it needs to have a point that's relevant to the current situation or current discussion at hand. So just maybe keep those in mind as you're going through some of these questions.
Yeah, and I think one additional thing just to add to that is that we can all attest that we've had many, many experiences. So I even like to frame my story a little bit around who I'm speaking to. So if I'm speaking to a mom that's child is struggling with something, then I'm probably going to be more specific with my story that relates to my kiddos versus going off on maybe my own personal journey. So that's also another option to throw out there.
So you may, from this story, develop your product story, and then you might have an opportunity story, right? So you kind of notice that some of these questions could go both ways, right? But if you have one of those stories ready to share, then you can address the people's needs that you're connecting with.
It's also, It's also a great idea to have a 30-second version of your story and, a 2-minute version and maybe a 5-minute version where you go more in detail. Perhaps you're asked to share your experience, your story at a leadership conference or even a convention or at any number of events, right? That's going to be a little bit longer version of your story. But if you only have moments with someone, it's going to be the short 30-second version. And so those are also good things to keep in mind.
And I think it's good to start out with your 30-second and your 2-minute version. So get the foundation of it right here, and then we're going to shape it. And I know some of you have somebody in the room with you. So the best way to shape our story and to get good at this story, right, is to literally practice it, right? So we're going to invite you to do a role play right now. If nobody's there with you, it's okay.
Look in the mirror.
Just kind of start voicing it out or reading what you wrote down or dialing that in. Looking in the mirror is great, right?
Yeah, look in the mirror.
At you. So turn to the person next to you or look in your mirror and share your story.
Do it now. This can be a lot of fun. 60 seconds, and then we'll switch. Okay, guys, if you haven't switched, go ahead and switch partners, and whoever was sharing is now the receiver, and whoever was receiving is now the sharer.
That's a great time to practice your listening skills, right? So if it's your turn to listen, really listen and take it in. This is a skill you're going to develop in doTERRA. And if it's your turn to share, drop into your heart and share your real story. Be authentic. We love authenticity in our day. We're to the day of authenticity. So switch and share.
Hey guys, welcome back. Let's now that you've shared, we're going to ask for a volunteer, someone who is super brave. They put their new Brave oil on to share your story with all of us, thousands of people, just to make it more intense for you watching the webinar or the recording. So if anyone wants to share just their brief and under 1 minute, their story, raise your hand. And hopefully your microphone is plugged in and working, but raise your hand and we will come to you and unmute your line. And we're just going to go with the first hand raised was Jennifer. Oh, where'd you go, Jennifer? There you are. Jennifer Anderson. Hold on a second, Jennifer. It moved on me. There we go. Okay, Jennifer. We can hear you. Please
you can
share.
hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Really, my interest, I thought about this. Really, my interest goes back to my college days and my political science degree that taught me to always look and see what the research says. So as I became a young mom, I learned a lot about natural childbirth. I thought when I went to have my babies, I wanted to say, I approached it as, what does the research say is best? And so what I found is low intervention is key in healthy births. Then I went on, and in 2005 I had some serious health issues, and I learned a lot about gut health, and that's when I really learned about natural solutions. In 2010, I had a strong feeling to go back to nursing school, and while in nursing school, as I'm learning, I was learning great things, but I knew that there were better options out there. And while I was in nursing school, I had heard of doTERRA actually, and I thought, I need to check this company out. And so I graduated 5 years ago in 2013, and my very good friend, we were at lunch one day, and she was telling me about this business that she was doing. And it was doTERRA, and I was like so excited. And so she shared one of the small sample kits with me, the one that has the 3-5 milliliters in. And so really the last 5 years I've been getting familiar with the products, and I've shared. I haven't built a whole lot, and I'm at a place now where I'm ready to build because I love these products. I love the company. I love the people in the company, and they stand for everything that I stand for as a health professional. And it really ties into my personal and professional interests. So that's my story.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. So Jennifer, can we do a little bit of positive reinforcement for your story?
Sure, that'd be great.
All right.
I love how you dialed in on, this is my journey, and this is what I was passionate about, and this is the problem that I saw in the world, and this is where I had pain. You did a great job hitting on that and the realities of it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
When I'm sharing, I'm always looking for what's in it for them, right? Because we all listen to the same radio station in our heads. It's WIIFM. What's in it for me, right?
Right.
WIIFM. And so when we're sharing, regardless of the story, whether it's about a product experience or about our business, whatever it is, on a subconscious level, the person listening is listening for what is in it for me? What is the benefit in it for me? So we have to kind of keep that in our mind when we're sharing. I think you did a great job of that. But just to reiterate for the whole group, everyone listening, that has to be our underlying focus in the storytelling is what's the purpose of it for the new person. So
that's great feedback. That's great feedback. Thank you.
And it's going to be so great because what pain does everyone else have too, right? What pain did doTERRA take care of for you? It gave you a vehicle, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what more it took care of for you, you know? Why?
Okay.
Why did I care? And really hitting on that. So condensing down more of your story to a little bit shorter so you can hit that 2-minute mark.
Okay.
And telling me what other pain. I want to know what other pain it took care of for you.
Okay.
awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. You know, there's an old Indian proverb that says that the person that shares the best stories rules the world. So there you go, guys. This will be another skill. We talked about inviting being a #1 skill to master. Well, part of that is stories.
It really is. We live in a world where stories
Yeah.
change lives, and stories is what people remember. So if you'll get good with this, then you've got your story to share when you're sharing oils or when you're on the phone. You've got it at all times. And so just take the time to shape that. You've got a great start today, and keep shaping that story.
Well, and I think it even just comes back to really listening to your audience. You know, everything I do just comes back to that concept of just being a really, really great listener. And as we're sharing a story, it generally should be relating to, you know, the people that we're speaking to. So I love that advice that you just shared with Jennifer, that it's make sure that you're hitting on the pain spot almost of who you're talking to. Like, why do they want this? So that's just, it's so crucial to make sure you're listening and relate back to them.
And what's so fun at this stage is if you are just sharing your story, that's really your part in the presentation even, right?
Mm-hmm.
No matter who you are, there's a DVD, there's a online presentation that you can share even if you don't have an upline nearby that's going to help with your class, or even, you know, somebody else in your community that's doing doTERRA that you can go see, you know, a few classes that they're teaching. Your part right now at this stage doesn't need to be teaching classes, but it can be sharing your story at the beginning of a class. Let's say you're hosting a class, you're going to be sharing your story at the very beginning. You'll introduce yourself, say, you know why I've invited you here today, and then you'll share your story, and then you'll be able to edify the presenter. And this page just goes over a little bit of what your part is, right? And it's going to be a little bit different. If you're sitting down with someone one-on-one, you're going to prepare a little differently than you would a class, right? But this is just going to give you those key points so you don't have to kind of play it out all in your mind and foresee everything and know all of that. But you can just hone in on these key bullet points, and it's going to set you up for success. And along the bottom, you'll see that ideal timeline so that you know, oh, hey, to hold a class, you know, I'm going to be sharing experiences, oil experiences with people. I'm going to be sharing my story, all of that, you know, a week to 10 days prior to set that class up for success. And that just gives you a quick overview so you can kind of see, oh, I get this, where this is all coming together.
Go ahead.
Sorry. And it's just so important to understand that we have the tools to make us be the experts. So I know for the first couple years when I was sharing the product, I shared merely from passion of my heart because it was changing my life and it was changing my kiddos' lives, and I was seeing so many things change in my home. I didn't have a clue about the science, but I was very effective on finding the solutions if somebody had a question. So if somebody came to me and asked me a scientific question that, you know, blew over my head, I can't even think of anything because I'm still not an expert in that area.
What's a sesquiterpene?
Exactly. I knew where to send them, and I knew how to find the resource that they could use. So just know that these tools are created so that you do have the confidence, and you can have the confidence to go out and share and feel like an expert.
Just to comment on the timeline down there, it's super effective that we do that reminder, that 2 to 4 hour reminder, the 48-hour reminder. Those are because we're all busy, and a lot of people just get busy and honestly forget or get distracted. And so that reminder via text especially, email is great, but a lot of people miss emails, don't read emails. They go into the garbage folder or the trash folder. And so text is the best. And one thing that works really well that we've seen is if you actually text the person, at that 48-hour reminder, ask them what they would like to learn, right? What question would they like to have answered at the event? Because guess what happens? They show up to get the answer, right? And so ask them, hey, we're having a natural solutions class. What's the number one thing that you would like addressed in that class? And literally they're giving you the bait to put on the hook, right? Because they're going to tell you, well, I'd really like to know about how I could overcome this issue. Well, they just told you what you should talk about in your class, right? At least for a minute, right? And so it's super, super effective.
And you may be doing some, hosting some product presentations. You may also be hosting some business presentations. You find people that are interested in the business, you're going to be going that route. And this just kind of walks you through that process of edifying and sharing your story at the very beginning, and then you're going to help with the inviting to enroll. Sometimes in initial stages, people, this part is key. You want to be in that inviting stage so you're helping them move towards enrollment, not saying, oh yeah, you don't need to get a kit or something like that. You're key in that inviting process, and then your follow-up support. And you'll see there with the blue text more of that just scripting of your follow-up, after the class when people maybe didn't enroll at the class. These are some great follow-up pieces. So this just hones in on your part of the presentation. And the back part of the share guide just helps see the way we can change more lives. And, just kind of introduces compensation just a little bit and gives them the option to change their future. Every one of the guides, the key guides in Empowered Success is going to have like a branch at the end, right? They can just keep on sharing, and they can change a few lives that way, or you can change your future by building the business. So now we've really gone into, both these first two steps, and you've got this solid foundation to launch your business on, and we've hit on building your dreams in the very beginning, right? And one key that's noted there on building your dreams, you want to make sure that you have your upline team support and that key support outlined, and then that you're connected to other, whether it's a team call or just a Facebook group, so that you have that community or support that you're connected to, right? And then we're just going to drop right into your goals that you want to set for the next, what is your goal to reach elite? And if you'll we're on page 4 of the launch guide, just circle. Do you want to hit it in 30 days or 60 days or 90 days?
I love that it says outrageous for 30 days. I actually have not noticed that before until just now. That's great. And 60 days is a target and 90 days is an average.
Well, and you should know whatever you're most drawn to, what might be outrageous for some is very realistic for another, right?
Right.
So,
and if you're already an elite, going through this launch camp, obviously make the correction, in this goal setting, right, to Premier or Silver, wherever you are, make the correction and write it down. But it is important to have that goal set for sure.
Well, and this, first you're working with that really short-term, short-range goal, and then we're going to move to the 90-day goal, right? Because, what's your goal for the next 90 days? 90 days from now. So
Mm-hmm.
we're on October 1st. Where are you
Yeah.
going to be?
And the 90-day thing actually works really good.
Yeah.
Really good. We all know what New Year's resolutions are, right? We've all done them.
Yeah.
And I love, I go to the gym. I love 90-day resolutions, or I'm sorry, the 1-year New Year's resolutions. But people will start strong January, and by February they're gone, right? They don't show up again. And a lot of it is because a year is hard for us to like visualize and focus on. But when we break it into 90-day increments, it's very comfortable, seasonal, right? You get 4 seasons of the year, you have quarters of the year. That 90-day thing is just very comfortable at a core level, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a great focus.
So if you'll set just a short-term goal, the 90-day goal, and then also a 1-year goal,
Mhm.
this gives you this breadth of vision to move from, while also and then later on you can just back out from that.
Let's give them a few minutes.
Let's do that. Let's take opportunity. Let me go back to that. Whoops. There we go. Let's take opportunity to just go ahead and write this in your launch guide. If you don't have a launch guide in front of you, write it on a paper. Someplace you're going to make it visible. It's very important that the goal be specific, that it be measurable, attainable. We got to have a timeline to it. You know, saying a lot of people I'll meet will say, well, I need to lose weight. My goal is to lose weight. Well, that's not a goal. That's a wish. A goal is I want to lose 20 pounds by December 30th, right? That's a goal because it has a measurable date, timeline, and so forth. And so, yeah, specific, measurable, attainable time frame, and that whole SMART process, right?
So what's beautiful about this, you may be looking around you thinking, okay, what should I do? You know, but the truth is the best answers are within you, right? You know, even if you don't know all the ranks in doTERRA or what's common, you'll know what's right for you. And I love how you can go back to that initial spread in the build guide that talks about the incomes, and you'll recognize that it's got the multicolors across it and kind of goes into a mountain and talks about all the ways that we make income in doTERRA. And on that spread, you'll see across the bottom the average time to hit ranks. So if you're looking for some averages to refer to, a lot of those have people that decided to build 4 years in or whatever. So
Right.
it looks like it takes longer than it typically does, especially with a streamlined process and the way we've dialed in with the system. But trust your instincts and your intuition, and work with your mentor or your upline to kind of dial in on these goals as well.
Also take advantage of what the current environment is in doTERRA. You know, if you're watching this live today, October 2nd, or you're watching the recording, you know, I mean, the company just launched a fabulous promotion. Oh my goodness, we're all like kind of in shock over it. And that's going to drive a lot of volume throughout this month. And so factor that into your goals.
Best month to hit.
Oh my gosh. I think a lot of people are really looking at new ranks this month because that promotion is going to help fuel that, right? So factor those types of things in to your goal setting because they have a huge impact.
And even your 90-day goal, you know, that's end of November or end of December. So
Right.
December is
These next three
typically,
months right now.
hopefully that's our frankincense month.
Yeah. This is always the biggest quarter of the whole year, and part of the reason, and maybe you won't like me saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway, part of the reason is cold and flu season. And it's good for business. Let's just be honest. It's we don't want anyone to be ill, right? We don't want anyone to be ill. Of course we don't, but
it's a reality.
we know it's going to happen, and we know that we can help provide the tools with the oils and other products to help boost and support their immune function to get over that stuff or not even catch it, right? So it's an awesome quarter ahead of us.
Beautiful. Okay, now let's move. Now we've got our goal set. This part, you'll notice this is key, right? This is on the very first of this launch, and if you get nothing more from this launch training than that you are a solutions provider, this is some of the most valuable awareness that you could ever have. So right here, we share a new kind of healthcare. That Casey's been focusing in on, right? It's all about understanding people's problems and pain so that we can bring solutions to the table. That if you'll make this about them and finding solutions for them.
Mm-hmm.
I love Kathy Page. She's a Blue Diamond on our team, and she always says, I feel like Santa Claus in doTERRA, right? Because I get to come around with the best gifts ever, right? The best gifts that really solve real-world problems, right, in people's lives. And honestly, what we do is connect people to these solutions. We invite other people to become a solutions provider, and we show them how to get the oils in their home so that they can be that solutions provider. So we like to say, this is perfect. You can just kind of memorize it, right, with a book. Right? Whether it's this doTERRA Essentials book that they're going to get with their first kit, or an essential oil reference guide with a book and a box of oils, you're prepared to address 80% of health priorities in your home, right? And how powerful is that? We are empowering and bringing those solutions to people's homes. I love how Empowered Success is just helping you be set up to be able to be that solutions provider, right? So whether you're using the guides, the class handout, these supports that are going to help you in this process. And as you're doing this, you want to just commit and schedule your PIPES activities in, right? Set apart this time, because really the things that we value, we put our time into. You'll show what you value in your life by where you invest your time.
Absolutely. And some tips: be authentically you. People can tell when you're not being sincere. People can feel it, they can sense it, and they shut off, they turn off. And so be authentically you, naturally share your experiences, right? Create a positive experience for them, invite them to learn more. A product demonstration or sample or experience, putting wild orange on their hands right at the moment of sharing is really effective, or oil of choice, whatever it is that meets their need, right? Oftentimes it might be past tense or deep blue or a number of other oils, and so use that in the invitation process, but create that. And we mentioned this a little bit earlier. These are the 4 essential skills. We talked about inviting already being number 1, right? That if you master any of these 4, number 1 is going to be the most important. But also you want to look at your skills as a teacher, and we teach more of this down the road in the train guide and subsequent guides, but teaching about the product and the business, following up in the lifestyle overviews, and following up for questions, providing support. And then number 4, walking people through this launch guide, maybe through a launch camp, if you will, and supporting them in any ways that are necessary. And so this guide is going to provide you with details on how to effectively engage in the essentials of launching your business.
So we're going to move right into just that scheduling, right? Your time. This is helping you prepare and set you up for success. And if you look at this calendar right here, we're going to dive right. So again, yeah, we're on the next spread of launch, so pages 6 and 7. And as we dive into this calendar, you're going to see on this launch month, we're going to, yeah, you can bring all this love and sharing and everything. But if you have some parameters, you can think about, wow, okay, if my 200 PV is my average enrollment, I'm going to need 15 enrollments to get to a 3,000 PV of elite, right? And so we're going to start scheduling in these key pieces so that you can accomplish that, right? So you'll notice, right, you're seeing some one-on-ones, some classes that are scheduled in, and you're going to get those big rocks in of the classes and the one-on-ones that you want to hold just right off the bat.
And I also like to go back to just when you initially made that goal of your 30-day, that you are really mindful of things that are happening within your month and that you schedule that out. Mm-hmm. So if you know that you're going to be gone for Thanksgiving, then you can mark out Wednesday through Sunday so that it really gives you a true idea of how many days you have to work with within the month. It's crucial.
And I love, at this point, it's so important to remember this quote by Robert Louis Stevenson, right? We are planting seeds. This is not a time of harvesting just yet. We're sharing samples. We're planting seeds so that these classes are set up for success, so that enrollments naturally follow, because we've invited powerfully.
One great thing about this, you can predict, Natalie, I can predict, I'm going to go out on a limb here, I can predict your success, future coming, if you showed me your calendar.
Wow.
Right? If you let me look at your calendar, now I've seen your calendar. Yeah, I don't, maybe this is a bad example, but when we're working, look at your calendar. If it's empty, well, there you go, right? That's going to predict your next month.
It's true, and through this process, in your calendar, in your phone, wherever it is that you're tracking your time, you have got to set apart this time. I know that if I put in, hey, I'm going to do my prepare in the mornings, as soon as the kids get off to school, that's my prepare time. And then where are my blocks of inviting? Where are my blocks of presenting these classes? And where am I going to enroll and follow up and do my support? And your support should be really light at this point, right? That we're just working on expanding your reach, and through this month, you're going to see this kind of a funnel, right? So through this funnel, there's actually 100 people in this funnel that you see, and you see how I'm preparing lots of people. So maybe you started out with a list of 100 people. It doesn't matter really where you start, only that you are sharing with and inviting about 45 people, so that then you're presenting to about 30, and this is even low to say that you would enroll 15. So even if you're just starting out and you make lots of mistakes and you only enroll half of the people that you present to, you're going to enroll 15, which will set you up for elite. And statistically, about 3 of those will be people that want to build, and you can support those builders.
Keep in mind, guys, a lot of you are new, and you're not going to be the one doing the presentation, right? You're going to be welcoming, edifying a presenter, and they're going to be taking on the role of teacher in the class, right? But I love these numbers, Natalie, because it actually thwarts a misperception. That there's a misperception out there that you can't be successful in doTERRA unless you've enrolled hundreds and personally enrolled, hundreds or thousands of people yourself. And I know as we've met as leaders, we've actually done interviews and asked those questions. And when you look at the diamonds, Bloom Presidential Diamonds, there are a few out there that have enrolled hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. There are, but the majority have not, right? The majority are under 100, some of them under 50, right? And they're Presidential Diamond or above. And so I love this because it points out that, you got to invite some people, but it's very realistic, right?
And if you follow this process, you can trust that you're going to arrive.
Right.
What we're talking about.
Yeah.
These are the steps. And so be in that process and trust the process. So again, just reiterating this with kind of a checklist. So you've got those 45 people invited to attend a class. You've scheduled the 3 main classes or 15 one-on-ones, and of course you can do a combination of that. And then you're setting apart those time blocks to invest in your business and hold those sacred. We know, I have people that treat doTERRA like a hobby, and they get hobby results.
Right.
But if you'll really honor that time that you're investing in the business, you'll get where you want to go.
And I would look at, just take number 2 seriously, that we are providing for you a number right here. So we're telling you exactly what you need to be doing. So you need 3 classes for 15 one-on-ones. The average class brings in about 5 people. So that's how they break that down. So you've got the tool to run with. So make sure that you are very mindful of this number.
One thing on the bottom of this page, page 6, now if you don't know what to do at any time throughout this process, like this month, you get a few days in and you're like, what do I do today? I want you to come back to this list and ask yourself who has these needs, who can I take care of here, and then you're going to go about scheduling that and planning and executing that.
Awesome.
So on the page right next to this, we've got the success tracker, and this is really, we were launching a new builder, and they were like, wow, how do you track all these people? Because people love the oils, and yet every person is in a different process, and this is a really simple way to track it. Of course, you can use your phone or something like that if that's how you track it, but if you'll just dial in on these top prospects that you're sharing with, and you can keep a few notes here about things that are working with them, and then you can go and track them through this natural process that we're talking about.
One thing to note as well is back on page 6 where there's the funnel, it's showing 100 to 45 to 30 to 15 to 3. So just notice the transference of going through a big name dump, right? And thinking through everybody you know, and then really thinking about who's ready for me to tell them a story, who's needing me to share a sample with them, and then transferring those top names to that success tracker and beginning that process of recording your interactions with those 45 people.
That's right, because you've got space in the build guide, or we're inviting you in the share guide to get a lot of those names, do the dump, but this you're going to hone in on the top 25 of those prospects.
Well, and also notice that here, we've got the success tracker page showing, which is page 7 in your launch guide, and then we've got a blown up view here of the top of those columns. And so this goes with your funnel, your 45, your 30, your 15 to your 3, and just teaching you that statistically we've been tracking in these 10 years of doTERRA what the general patterns are for the general populace. Now, of course, people can have what's like the disclaimer, your experience might not be the same or whatever. As prescribed.
Individual results may vary.
There you go. That's what I was looking for. So, and nevertheless, we want you to anchor yourself to some expectations, because this allows you to see, hey, are my results tracking, no pun intended, with the averages? Am I able to get, a minimum of this many people to actually show up to a presentation? Am I able to enroll this many people? So have a level of expectation of performance that you hold yourself to, which allows you then to see if you have a breakdown or a lack of skills. If you're not getting, half of your attendees at a minimum signing up, then go take a look at your capacity to close and enroll. If you're not getting those people you're handing out samples to or telling your story to actually show up to a presentation, then take a look at your inviting process. So this really helps you to track not only what's happening with each individual, but how your overall patterns are going for you. How are you trending?
Because if you're wondering what's next, this is a great place to just look. Oh yeah, I've done this, and this is what's next, right? As you're getting the hang of things, it's going to help you track them through that natural process.
Well, it's so profound about that, Natalie, is we teach that you're only as good as your next action. So what the chart teaches you is, what's my next action? What am I inviting this person to next? Just had a mentoring dinner last night, just talking to a new builder yesterday, and when I'm always booking with them, when I'm always talking about the end of that interaction is we're booking our next interaction. What's next? Or we're sending them with their takeaways. So think about that with each of your prospects and your customers and your builders. What's the next action? And it's super simple, right? It's the same thing. It's pipes. It's always pipes.
And one thing that, just one little tip that I would provide for you is if you look at the very bottom, it says print additional copies of the Empowered Success Library. I love printing multiple copies and just putting them in a folder, and I can keep it in my bag if I'm out and about, so that if I give a sample out, I know what I gave out. So it is really easy to lose track, and you definitely don't want to miss out on an opportunity to follow up with
You didn't
someone.
want to post it in your pair of jeans that got washed, and the one you left on the kitchen counter that your husband didn't know was an important name or number and threw away.
Yeah, I've been there, done that. So that's just a little tip.
So now we're going to dive into this. We want you to leave with a drilled down list of who those top prospects are. So whatever names list that you have already, whatever you have, bring those pieces together. If you don't take your phone off of airplane mode, but just look at your phone contacts if you need to, right? But here you're going to dial into those top 25.
I love that. In fact, just as a reminder, so we're going to give you a few minutes to do that. Go back real quick. Let's just read this together. Use your names list from build and share guides and track your pipes activities with your top 25 prospects. So right out of the gates, you probably, as Natalie said, already have some lists hanging around, and we're just inviting you to take that to the next level of organization. In addition to that, search your phone contacts, your social media friends for ideas of whose lives, right, by way of health, purpose, freedom, like even people who are looking for wealth freedom, as new people come to mind and into your life, then add them to your list to keep up the flow, right? That's how you're putting that flow through your pipeline. Your pipeline is all about, if you have one person in your pipeline, then only one person can come out, right? If you have 25 people in your pipeline, then you can have a minimum of 12 lives that you're changing. So start sharing and inviting. Then you have your list to roll from. So as Natalie indicated, we're going to take time right now. We're literally going to pause. We're going to give you 5 minutes. We're going to set the clock. Do we have any
we'll
Zen
pause.
music
We'll
there,
pause for
Justin?
5 minutes. No, it gives us an echo. So
no music. So turn your own music on.
Yeah, so no music. Play some music. Take 5 minutes. Also, one comment, don't prejudge anyone. We fall into that trap often, like, oh, they won't be interested. Oh, no, this isn't for them. We don't have the right to make that decision. That's their decision.
I'm so glad somebody didn't make that decision for me.
Amen, right? What if someone said, oh, Natalie got her, she would not be open to the oils. Oh, my gosh.
Can you imagine?
Hundreds of thousands of people may have missed out
Actually,
on this.
millions.
Millions, yeah, millions.
Because not only is there,
Yeah,
The effect of
because every household we impact is not one person,
right,
It's
right.
multiple
Millions of
people
people.
would have missed out
and
because
so
of just one person
one
not being
person.
invited.
Right, so just get in that flow, take off your filters. If you need to dump a little bit more, dump. Open up your build guide to that very last page where you might have already dumped some names and bring your top names right here.
And don't feel bad if you have a chicken list.
No.
We encourage you to have a chicken list. The people that you think are a little bit more scary to approach, write them down anyways. You might be, not only you might pleasantly surprise yourself, you might really pleasantly surprise them with a proposition that they've possibly even been praying into their lives, right? Just think about the perspective. I'm looking for people who are looking for my message. I'm looking for people who are looking for my solutions. And you're not desperate. You're looking for the lives that are seeking to be changed.
It was so scary for me to approach you, Laura Jacobs, the amazing Laura Jacobs, right? But,
she was on your chicken list?
oh yeah, on my chicken list. But as I experienced the power of the oils, I knew, oh, Laura will value this, And so whatever it is that's drawing you to these people, like honor that and get them on your list so it creates this space, right?
Well, thank you for not chickening out.
Yes.
Seriously.
Thank you.
Changed my entire existence.
Thank you. Okay, guys, so we're going to do 4 or 5 minutes. Take it right now. We're going to go on pause. And please work on that list, and then we'll be back with you 5 minutes.
Okay, how's it going? How's your names list coming along? Here's what I love. Don't you know, like, I bet you had some resistance going into this little assignment. You're like, I don't want to do that.
Make me
I'm
do
going to
it.
go to the bathroom and make a smoothie instead of doing what those guys asked me. So for those of you who chose to jump in, I don't know about you, but what I've noticed about myself, do you guys feel the same way? But once I start jumping into something like this, like, you get into it.
Yes.
And you like it, and it feels good, and things start to come to you.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing the people that just jump to mind.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. You know,
Go with that intuition.
do it.
It's powerful.
Do it. And again, like you said, don't pass up people that maybe you think, nah, because sometimes they're your very best contacts.
So now we have the list, Laura. Now what?
Oh, well. Okay, so we are now moving on to the next section of the pipe,
Yes.
which is invite. Now, admittedly, because we were really attached to the word pipes, we couldn't put 2 letters in this one. Truly, invite is share and invite. It's a duality. There's actually kind of a 3-step process here that we're going to get into, which is modeled here right below with the pages that we're going to explore. So let's dive right in. Now let's go back and anchor ourselves to where we've already been. What did we already learn earlier in our time together? Well, one, through our launch guide, we realize our identity of what am I doing here? I'm a solutions provider in my home. And other people are going to find out that they want to do that in their home too. So what I'm doing is I'm connecting people to my solutions. Now they're plural because, one, I got more than one oil. I've got some supplements, right? And it's okay for me to own those. Those are my solutions and I'm sharing them. But I also have a solution for an opportunity for wealth. So it's a health and wealth. And this is my role that I'm playing. I'm a solutions provider. I'm modeling that by doing that in my own home. I'm not setting up a 24/7 hotline and starting a new business, right? Of like, hey, call me, Laura Jacobs, for solve all your problems.
I'm calling you at 2 a.m.
Calling me at 2 a.m., right? And that's actually an intimidating prospect for people to think they're now supposed to solve someone else's problem. It's not the prize. The prize is for people to actually discover that they can be their own solutions provider. So that's what we're sharing is the prospect of that. So remember, all of that was beautifully taught to us in the share guide, which we've already gone over. So when it comes to the launch guide itself, the page you're going to come to next in your spread, from pages 8 and 9, is this beautiful invitation to connect, share, and invite. So before we go to the page, let's just sit here for a minute. This picture is perfect because it's showing 2 people interacting with the Live Guide. You know, in the words of Kyle Kirschbaum, have authentic connections first. We're not just trying to jump down someone's throat or ear canal or whatever with our message. Like, be a person to a person. Care. Connect. People sense that. They sense that you have interest in their lives and in their success, and that's how we earn the right to share and invite. It's because we make those connections.
And we don't have to have a 6-month connection process, right? You can connect powerfully just by being present and listening to them, you know, but care through that process. But don't think, oh, I haven't talked to them for 30 years, so I need to just be their friend and reach out 6 times on Facebook Messenger before I share. It's just the quality of what you do, right? Not the connection.
The big asset there is pay attention to their lives. If you're interacting with them on social media, what's happening with them, where you can choose to bounce off of what's current in their lives. So what we've done for you in both the share guide, which again we've already been through with the scripting, and also now here in the launch guide, consider this spread here, 8 and 9, as an extension of your share guide, which remember is a companion to your launch guide for launching your business. And there's some beautiful, this is a 3-step process. So as you look at the whole spread, notice 1, 2, and 3, and we'll dive into those. That section 1 is connecting with people authentically and sincerely. Now, we're going to assume the best of you, that you know how to do that, right? That you're a capable person and you know how to connect with people in that way and be their friend. And then we can dive into some other portions of that to really breathe life into this process. So in section 2 on that same page, this is about connecting people to your solutions. So here is a brilliant opportunity to practice this. This is maybe a little bit out of your common interactions, right? This is
maybe haven't been doing this.
You maybe haven't done this yet, right? Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly.
So go back to your names list that you just, on the success tracker that you just created, and choose one person, and how are you going to approach them? And practice, role play this with your partner.
So there's two sections here, right? Is someone you already know and someone new. So we're giving you two examples of how would you take a familiar situation or an unfamiliar situation and then introduce someone to your solution. So with the role playing, if you're in a situation where you're with more than yourself, then how would that look? How would that role playing go for you? So we want to invite you to do that. So how would we like to springboard them into that process? Anybody have some good recommendations here as how this can look for them?
I think it's great. So choose one of those people, have them in mind, if you want to practice this, someone you already know. And you can just read the scripting so you get familiar with it. You can add your own pieces into it, but take just a moment and decide which approach you're going to use, and then practice it with the person next to you, right? You're just going to turn to that person next to you, or you're going to pop over to the mirror again, so you can practice and start getting used to this, connecting them to solutions.
One thing I like to point out about the scripts that are here on this page is they are scripts and they're great to learn, but make it your own, because then you're authentic, right?
Okay, so let's practice
if you start to say something that you would, well, I would never say that, well, then don't say it like that. Right?
Okay,
'Cause that's
so
not
Natalie,
authentic.
read to us the script with the blue quote, and then let's see how we might rephrase that in our own words.
You know how it seems like so many people are into natural wellness these days? It seems more and more important to eat better, exercise more, get quality sleep, and get rid of toxic products around the house. Is that pretty much how you are as well? What kinds of things are you doing with your family? What do you know about essential oils, right? And I would listen for a response after each of them. Right, I guess we could.
Yeah, so how could we spin that in our own world, right?
Put it in your own words.
So
Right.
maybe I'm hanging out with, I'm trying to put myself in a real world situation, which I've been in 100 million times. Isn't it funny how you do this 100 million times and then all of a sudden you're like,
Like,
I was thinking brand new prospect.
oh, I have an idea.
Yeah.
Come here, Eve.
Oh.
So I've got a couple team members that are hanging out at the house here. So Eve and I have a real world situation. Let's go back in time. And her dog, let's say, had an interaction in nature. It was really unpleasant for the dog, and it wasn't going well. And so she showed up at my house with the dog, and, you know, we had a real world situation. We knew each other, and she had a problem, and she needed a solution. So she came over. Now, prior to that, why do you think she came over to my house?
She already had an
You
idea.
had solutions.
She already had an idea, right? I have 5 kids. She has 8. Oh my gosh! Just drop your jaws for a second and look at her, like, oh, right? And so we would have done this exact kind of interaction, would we have not? Like, we would have been like roasting hot dogs on the back patio for our million children, and we would have dived into this conversation. And it could have gone something like, I don't know, we could have been talking about a problem, and then we could have talked about a solution, like one of our daughters, and yeah, their monthly experience, or
And they're driving me crazy. Now, please help me.
right? And it could have gone something like, oh my gosh, you know what I've noticed, Eve? Like, so I've got 4 daughters. I've noticed that it's really made a difference in our home, that we've really taken a look at the kinds of things they're using with their bodies. So we've looked at toothpaste, and we've looked at laundry soap and lotions and skincare, and just really made some changes there to start eliminating those kind of toxins. In fact, we've actually really found a ton of value with essential oils. Have you tried any of those in your home?
Absolutely.
And you had, she had.
I had a couple that I
You had 2 oils. I remember specifically you used tea tree oil.
a different brand. Sorry, everyone. I didn't know what I didn't know.
Well, so I recall, Eve, that the situation with the dog, you had already reached out for that other brand of tea tree oil, and you weren't necessarily getting the results you desired, hence you brought Tootsie over and asked for an upgrade in your health, right?
Yeah. Yes, I wanted more oils than what I had because the situation was desperate.
It was desperate. Like, the dog was at risk, right?
Yeah.
And so Eve came over. But it was set up with conversations just like that,
Yeah.
where we found a way to relate to each other. We started to discover each other's own play with natural solutions, right?
Yeah.
And started sharing with each other. And, of course, as she's telling me she uses Melaleuca oil, right, do you think I was excited?
Oh yeah,
So,
totally.
did I jump down her throat? Did I try to sign you up our first time we ever talked about oils? No, I didn't. Right? I let it become natural, right? And I think it's important when you find needs for people that it's really helpful.
In fact, I went home with a lot of expensive oils that day, including this. And
She did. I think
For
it
the dog.
Helichrysum.
several oils. Yeah, we won't list them all out necessarily, but she did go home with a slew of them. And really all I can say from there is the rest was history.
Well, and can I add, I didn't know how to use the oils, and you were pretty new at it too, so I went home with them, and I actually was putting some oils on the dog that were a little spicy, shall we say, that if I went back and did it again.
Let's be clear. I was very experienced with oils, but I was extremely inexperienced with oils and dogs.
Yeah.
That was probably literally my first dog experience. And I was like, oh, well, we should use all these things because this dog needs some serious help. Yeah, so you had to go home and figure some things out for yourself.
So I would do it differently today, but you figure it out.
But hey, the dog thrived.
Yes.
Not only did the dog survive, but the dog thrived.
Right.
She was already quite old.
Yeah.
And she lived a number of years later. And it was a miracle. It was really
It
a
really
miracle.
was. Really
However, soon thereafterwards, Eve actually decided to attend convention. And within a few short months, she decided to build a business. And again, the rest is history. She's
Which I had
100%.
sworn I wasn't building a business, right? I had sworn there was no way I was going to build a business.
Those are my
Anybody else?
favorite.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah, because I was a little busy already with my 8 kids.
Yeah.
That's last.
Well, and you weren't looking for an opportunity. You weren't looking for a way out of the house, right? And yet I've watched her own children, her oldest son, break down emotionally watching his mother choose into this mission and watching her influence people and being so proud of her for getting out of her comfort zone. I don't know about you guys, but I think raising 8 kids isn't exactly comfortable. However, she's an expert at that, right? Like par excellence. And to watch her choose into things that she hadn't done before, like what we're doing right here, scripts. And have you ever talked to a stranger, Eve?
It's not my favorite thing. I have.
Well, and even our next script, someone new, it reminds me of something that Eve's been up to as of late. So, Natalie, you want to read us this next script? Since I can't see it.
This script says, hey, I work with moms and teach them how to take care of their family naturally using essential oils and other products. Or here's another variation on that. I work with chiropractors and teach them how to create an additional stream of income in their office by sharing with their clients how to live a wellness lifestyle with essential oils.
So I was thinking about the second one because right now you are courting, right, a chiropractor with one of your team members in Texas for that exact reason, right, he is interested in an additional stream of income. And so how did you overcome your fear of talking to strangers, let alone a professional like a chiropractor? What helped you get to a place where...
Oh my gosh. Oils, shall we say that first? Oil. And I don't know, just the desire to share more, and I knew what we had at that point and what effect it had. After the dog story, I was like, oh my gosh, this could have been one of my kids, and I need to know how to do that for my children. And that just powerfully launched me into wanting to share with people of what we have. So I think that belief really pushed me past my fear. And you, Laura, always, like this, pulling me onto the stage and saying,
no better opportunity to grow.
I know,
right?
as I'm just clinched, and, then you just take a deep breath. Air, oxygen is a really good thing.
My favorite new quote is, comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable.
She does that
I
well.
like that.
She does
I like
it well.
that. That's
Right?
good.
So thank you, Eve. Thanks for being Johnny on the spot, right? Because super real world situation, right?
Yeah.
This is Eve on the page. This has been her actual experience, and she's beautifully become such a significant part of our oil community and sharing and teaching people and modeling that behavior and inspiring not only women, chiropractors, right? Like, again, exactly what we have here on this page.
And what you just saw there was there's lots of different ways. Everybody needs to be connected to doTERRA solutions in different ways for different reasons at different times, right? So you just learn the skill of connecting those people to doTERRA, and the rest is history, right? Then the magic happens because the solutions really work like they did for you.
Totally. So here would be our invitation on this slide is right now it might be you sitting in front of a computer, or perhaps you're in a setting of a training, you have a gathering of people, you're using this video as part of that training, or perhaps you're a leader preparing for a training. And we really encourage you to take some time right now in this training, when you're setting that up with multiple individuals, to let people practice this particular section together. It's very important that we get more relaxed in this, and you're going to be amazed. If you'll just practice this for 5 minutes, then when it happens, you won't feel like you're caught off guard. You're like, again, how you prepare for your action is every bit as important as the action itself. And so you're going to feel more natural and comfortable. Even if you're feeling nervous inside, you're going to be able to present that message more with ease. And so for those of you who, again, maybe are by yourself right now and you don't have an opportunity to interact with someone, you can go talk to your mirror after the training, or practice on your family, or there's no harm in calling up a best friend. Like I could have done this with Eve, and I could have said, look, I'm trying to get good at this whole oil thing. Can I practice on you? You would have done that for me, right? Sure. She totally would have. Everybody has friends or family like that who you can just practice on them, and you'll never know, they'll sign up.
Can I just make one comment? That first line under someone new, this is so awesome if you're looking to break the ice, because sometimes people are like, well, how do I even start the dialogue, start the conversation? And so asking someone else what they do is the most effective question at breaking the ice and starting the conversation, because then they'll share with you their answer, which is great. And then it's like an unwritten social rule that they must then what? Ask you, right? They must ask you what you do, and that's the question you want, right? You want that. And if they don't ask you what you do, then they're socially dead and you don't want them anyway. So move on. Move on. But real normal human beings.
Wait.
I know. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing. But most people will respond and ask you what you do, and then that opens the door.
So Justin, so brilliant that you brought this up right now, because right here in this third quote with the orange things around it are 2 phrases of what we would call an audio business card or an elevator pitch. So that have yourself prepared. When somebody does turn to you and say, so what do you do? Then right here are 2 perfectly scripted examples of one you would use in an environment like a mother-to-mother environment, right? Family environment, or in a professional environment. So as a practitioner, I owned a wellness center for 18 and a half years. I loved what I did. I absolutely loved it. However, as with any dentist, chiropractor, massage therapist, I had a gal at my house last night who's been doing what she does, one-on-one appointments for 20 years. So she's hauling buckets. I was hauling buckets for an exchange for the time that I gave. And you know what? I wanted time freedom. So to go to a professional, like in the second quote, and offer an opportunity to create a second stream of income so that you have choice is, again, one of the greatest gifts you can offer. It takes us all the way back to our Build Guide experience, and maybe even that second level of play. Would a chiropractor, in fact, who was telling me this just yesterday? Oh, yeah, one of our frontline. He was telling us at a salon that he changed the bottom line of the salon. They made $20,000 more in revenue last year because of their doTERRA offerings. Wow. So that's nearly $2,000 a month. And when you're running a small business, I can relate to this. A couple $1,000 more a month in income in your business can change. It can be the difference between make it or break it.
Right.
So just feel really, really confident and blessed by just some simple concepts like this can really, truly, again, anchor your capacity to move this forward.
So now we've got the connection to the person, right? That authentic connection, and we've got the connection, starting to connect them to the solutions that we have. Now it's time for the invitation, right?
So I love that you brought this up, Natalie. Remember we talked about this section of the pipe, the I section, that it would sound like pipes if we had an S in there, right? This really is a 2-part process. And so your first half is you're exposing people to the possibilities. Your Healthy Can Be Simple guide, as we already talked about, is helping people see themselves in it. That's what that whole first page is it's the warm-up act where people are salivating and leaning in and wanting more. And now you've earned the right to issue the invitation to come and do that very thing, to come and learn more.
And that's where we're just gonna connect them to a presentation where they can learn more. And that can happen in so many different ways, right? Whether it's in a webinar or a lifestyle overview or class or one-on-one or a business overview. These are great presentations. Some people will need it delivered to them in a different way, but this gives you an awesome script for any one of these presentations that just gives you a great starting place to begin.
Yeah, make them your own. You know, make them your own.
I love that. Thank you for continuing to invite that, Justin. That the scripts, again, are intended to get us familiarized with, and they're very carefully crafted.
Yeah.
Every single script is intended to teach you that there's components,
The essential components.
right? And so take from that and then craft your own. And then here we've carefully chosen 5 interactions for you because you have 5 different types of presentations. You're inviting people to one-on-ones, classes, possibly an online education experience, just like we're doing right here together. Then later on in, so, you know, we're kind of in the flow of pipes where we're inviting people to come and learn more as a prospect, but we're just taking advantage of the time that there's also later presentations like a lifestyle overview that's part of your follow-up that you're going to need to invite them to. And the business overview could be later on in your pipes experience, or it might be the first invitation you're issuing. You can start a business prospect with a build guide experience prior to any other presentation. So we wanted you to be prepared to invite to any kind of presentation that are our basic ones in our business.
And this just does that for you. I love the other key on this page is helping people say yes, right? We want to set up people for success so that they're ready to say yes. And you do that by just being clear as you're inviting them, right? The confused mind says no. The clear mind can say yes. So get clear on the invitation itself so they know exactly what they're saying yes to. And then we're building up the value of that as well. Hey, I'm so excited for you to come to a class because you'll learn in 1 hour what it took me 3 years to learn about essential oils. I love saying that because then they know, oh, that's really valuable use of my time if I can really learn that. Or even, you know, hey, I'm so excited for you to learn these natural solutions for your son's health in this class or in this one-on-one. Build up that value.
As you're early on in your building experience, one of the things we like to recommend is to partner. You know, Justin, you've been so great to teach us this. So if I'm a new builder, right? Actually, no. Let's put me in the role of the prospect. I'm the prospect. So I'm being invited, just like we're talking about here. You've done such a good job of teaching us that that prospect is better influenced by 2 types of people. We teach this in our train guide. And so if you're my neighbor, and I've known you for 25 years as the guy next door who mows his lawn every Saturday in his T-shirt, right, and now you're inviting me to an essential oil class, that might not be your experience. Now, I trust you, right? You'll put my garbage out when I'm on vacation, and if there's an emergency picking up my kids from preschool, I can call you, right? So we trust each other. However, do I necessarily hold you in a space as an essential oil expert?
Probably not.
So what could be leveraged here?
Oh man, this is so. I'm so glad you brought this up. I was just thinking about this.
I read your mind.
We call this. I know, we're on this. We call this the trust respect relationship, right? Well, Laura trusts me. We've known each other forever, but she's not going to respect me because all of a sudden I'm an oils expert, right? This is with family, especially. Because those of you that are new, you're getting into oils and you call your brother, sister, aunt, uncle, they know you're new. They know that you don't know what you're talking about and that you're totally a greenie, right? They know this. And so it's super important. If I'm talking with Laura and I want to invite her to a class, I cannot be the expert. Right? I've got to employ the use of someone else, an upline, anyone else. Really, it actually can be anyone else.
It really can be.
It really can be literally anyone else.
Or it can be a resource.
Or a tool, yeah.
It can be a DVD.
Any of the books that are available are great experts. A lot of information, webinars, conference calls, but it can't be you initially. I mean, I remember even with my own family in the beginning, I did not want to teach their class. Right? I didn't want to be the person because I knew my own father. For years, he had an issue, an intestinal issue. And for years, I would tell him, well, do this, this, and this, and I think that will help tremendously. Did he ever do it? No. We happened to be going through our hometown with Dr. Hill, who you all know. And guess what my father asked Dr. Hill? What do I do for this issue? And guess what Dr. Hill told him?
The same
The
thing.
exact same thing, word for word, without deviation, without change, and I just sat there kind of tapping my toe. You know, what does my dad say to Dr. Hill? I will do that. And he did it, and his issue resolved, and I'm thinking,
That was a rough.
I was not the expert
You
for
were
my
the prophet
father,
in
right?
your own land.
That's right. He just needed to hear it from someone else. And so when it comes to getting people to say yes and using these scripts, inviting in an expert, which again can be someone else, anyone else, or a tool, is super effective to bring the respect. When you have trust and respect, it's a home run hit. And for those of you that are brand new, I think it is one of the most powerful takeaways you could have today, to employ those two aspects of trust and respect to win.
Okay, so Justin, thank you for that. That was brilliant. Now,
I had that built up inside.
I
you can
know,
tell.
we had to get that out. Now, we're going to bring this back. What does this have to do with people saying yes? So I'm going to take Natalie Goddard as an example. Natalie, when you started in doTERRA, were you quote unquote an essential oil expert?
No way.
Okay, so Eve, we already established Eve was not an expert, but she knew how to use oils, right? So if I'm the new person, I'm hosting, I'm you, I'm the people watching this webinar, I am a new builder. Should I say, I've got Eve Hewitt, doTERRA Diamond, coming to my house who's going to teach this class. Or I've got Natalie Goddard, Presidential Double Diamond, coming to my house to teach this class. First of all, they could care less about that.
They have no idea what that means.
Second of all, it doesn't mean anything. But if I say to them, I've got an expert coming, and she's an expert at being a solutions provider in her home, and you're going to love learning for her how to be an expert in your home. I've got I have Eve there, and she comes in and she talks about how she's mommed her way through 8 kids, right? And only 2 are still at home, and Natalie's still got a million of them running around the house, right? And they come in and they talk about how they're solving problems in their home. Just so we understand, we are not leveraging rank here. We are leveraging home expertise. We're leveraging that our whole mission here is, hey, I've actually discovered how to be a solutions provider in my home. I'm inviting you to become one in your home. And by the way, I've got a special person coming who's an expert at being that in her home, and I want you to learn from her. That's what we're talking about here.
Oh.
Do you see the difference?
Oh, man.
And here's
Huge.
the bottom line. If I had staged my presenter by their rank or some like blah, 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 and then you're the new builder and you can't pull that off the next time, and you've focused on a different type of expertise, it's not duplicable. The kind of expertise we're talking about leveraging here is duplicable. Now, it's possible. When I came to doTERRA, I was an essential oil expert. In fact, I kind of chuckled at my upline who had been using them for 5 minutes or 13 minutes, and I'd been using them for 13 years. Okay, so sometimes our enrollments do know I could teach a class by myself straight out of the gates because I was already held in the space of expert. So don't pass those people up either. And so in other words, we highly recommend that when you're not a prophet in your own land and you haven't established that kind of credibility, or people clearly know you are not yet an expert in your home, leverage another expert. If you feel like an expert, you're esteemed as an expert by your crowd, even from one mom to another. I promise you that if Natalie or Eve were to call up their neighbors and say, I'm doing an oil class, they would not need to leverage an expert. Does that make sense? So really pay attention to where are you, how does your audience esteem you, and then what do you need to partner with in order to make that happen? So we don't want to put you in a box, but the typical scenario is you're first starting out, bring in someone who's already established a level of expertise in their home, and that's why Justin's so on when he says it really can be anyone else who really feels comfortable talking about that, even if they've only been doing oils for a few minutes, because those girls who've been doing for 13 minutes changed my life. As the expert, I listened to them, and I said yes, where I had already given Natalie some really big fat no's. And that's because I heard some solutions that they were accomplishing, and I was in. That's all it took.
Yeah.
Was one person telling me how she was an expert in her home, and that is what sealed the deal. Something that simple.
Powerful.
Love it.
So next point on that one had give 2 options that can work for them. I really like saying, hey, do you want to come to the class on Thursday night at 7 where you can learn, this much in an hour, or would you rather do a one-on-one? If you're open to offering that, get a time to offer that one-on-one. So it's, would you like to come to the class Thursday at 7, or Should we do a one-on-one on Friday morning at 10 when the kids are at school?
So this is just like asking a 3-year-old to get dressed in the morning. You don't ask them what they want to wear. You set out 2 or 3 outfits that you're okay with. So don't give people an opportunity to say yes or no. Give them an opportunity to say yes to what works for them. So offer them a couple options, and then you're far more likely to get a yes.
Yeah, it's actually called an alternate clothes.
It is.
And everyone in most of the developed countries of the world have been pre-programmed for this because of multiple choice testing in our school systems.
Right.
Right? So we're all taught, well, here's your question, A, B, C, D, E, A, B, C, D, E, right? So already when someone asks a question, they're expecting a multiple
They're
choice
expecting
option.
choices.
Right? So give them the option, and no could still be an option, but we're not going to offer it on the buffet, right? We're going to give them A, B, C, or just A, B. And if no is still there, then great. We circle back to them later.
It might sound like which class is better for you.
Yeah.
Having one this Thursday at 7 or one next Tuesday at 10 a.m. Which class is better
Awesome.
for you?
This is a perfect example of you're only as good as your next action or your next interaction, right? So when we're sampling and telling stories, then we're as good as the next action, which is the invite. And then the invite is only good if there's some place to take them to. Is there a presentation opportunity established, either a class or a one-on-one? And so this is going to be super successful. Now, we've already seeded this section quite a bit here because we've been talking to you a lot about, depending on the stage that you're in, as far as you feeling comfortable with your audience, that with this presenting section, we actually don't teach you how to teach a natural solutions presentation until the train guide, because we would prefer that you don't attempt to be a prophet in your own land, that you really do bring in a third-party source of credibility, because it will help you enroll your audience. In other words, this isn't about you, this is about your audience and your capacity to change lives. So when you think about your prospect, if it's you and a doTERRA DVD, or tapping into the videos online, if it's you and your friend Eve, who knows how to use oils at her house, it's a stronger presentation. And if you really have 5 and 6 people there, you're not capable of enrolling them all by yourself. It's better if there's a couple wellness advocates at an average class. What we find is the average enrollment takes about 45 minutes. Give them a snack, get them to fill out the paper, answer their questions. And so while you're rotating afterwards, each of you can handle about 3 of those people, and that alone is going to improve your closing ratio. So we're going to go through with you now a couple details on what do we want you to know when it comes to you setting yourself up. So focus on hosting more than anything. Your first role here is really to play the role of hosting the presentation.
That's so fun. Hosting is fun. Presenting, you're going to love presenting down the road. You can do this in so many ways, right? You can do it through class, one-on-one, 3-way call is an amazing way. A webinar or online Zoom, video, or through social media. Lots of ways that you can deliver a presentation.
It really is okay to send a friend to a link and have them watch a presentation and follow up. That is acceptable. Totally.
Well, and sometimes I don't know if this has happened to any of you, but have you ever invited someone to a class and they didn't come? Have you ever had a secret meeting? You all know what that is? That's
No.
a class where Laura probably hasn't. You hold a class and no one came.
Yeah.
So it was a secret meeting, right? It was a secret.
Wait,
She was one you invited and didn't come?
She's hysterically laughing because she and I drove 16 hours
Oh,
to
my
a
goodness.
very remote town, got there, 21 people in the room, all from another team.
Oh,
Our
no.
hostess with no
Oh,
no.
no.
That's just one of my painful stories. Yes, Justin, I have.
Yes, we've all done it. So the reason I mentioned that is as we're talking about how and where, some of these people, we're not going to get them to come to a class. We have to go to them.
Yeah.
We have to go to them.
We have to meet them
We
where
have to,
they're at.
exactly,
Have a plan B and a plan C.
exactly.
Okay,
You
so
can meet them all kinds of
I feel like we could
places.
break out in song and Any Place Will Do. Isn't there a song about that?
Yeah.
Okay, so the bottom half of the Present the Message page is designed to familiarize you with the flow of both of the presentations. So whether using the Natural Solutions handout or the Product Lifestyle presentation invitation or the business overview through the Build Guide, this is designed to give you an idea of what to expect. What's the general time frame
Mm-hmm.
that you could spend in these types of engagements? And again, don't pin yourself in a box. You know, maybe your business presentation goes for an hour because it's over dinner and it's a little more
Sure.
casual. We really do hold you to a 40 to 50 minute time frame. However, on the product presentation, we don't recommend rolling past that. One is you probably flood them with more information than they can handle.
Totally.
The confused mind says no. Keep the main thing, and by all means, give yourself some time after the
Oh,
presentation
yes.
for the enrollment.
The magic in the meeting is after the meeting.
Exactly.
So get to the after meeting quicker.
Which is where you serve a doTERRAized guacamole,
That's
with our
right.
cilantro and lime oil, our peach or apple slice soaked in On Guard, some sassy water, and some mint brownies. You can't tell I've ever done this before, can you?
Never.
Those are like our standard snacks, right? And the meeting after the meeting, of course, is super important. But if you don't have the meeting, then you don't have the
You don't get to the
conversation.
after meeting, right?
You haven't earned the right for the after the meeting. So once again, just to put you at ease, the invitation in the present section of the pipes is that your key role here is that you are gathering people. You are hosting the message. The messenger is up for grabs, right? We talked about some different options there.
And remember, like we went over in the share guide earlier, you've got this outline of what your part is, right?
Yes.
And there's some great, you'll find a download link in the share guide to a class planner. That class planner has some ideas for, you know, those simple treats. You know, Laura sounds like an expert, but I promise you, they're really simple things that you can do, and you can just choose one of them. You know, have some water and one thing. You can keep it super simple, but again, the heart of what this looks like, what your part in presenting the message, you're going to find in the share guide.
You don't have to serve all those food items either. You can
Right.
serve one or two, right? Keep it
Yeah.
simple. Keep it simple for you and your hostess.
When even having water with lemon,
Oh, yeah.
you know, I mean, it's very simple.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
The presentation is the core of what we do. That sharing the message is really, really powerful. And once we've done that, we're going to, in doing that, you know, your part is drawing experiences out from these other people. You're
So-
sharing your own experience.
Look how this ties into what you're learning in your actual launch guide. So remember, if you go back to page 5, this whole rank advancement in doTERRA, we could say rank schmank. Really, this is a process of becoming. That at every rank in doTERRA, you are acquiring a new level of character. So right out of the gates, you're a builder, and the character that we're seating here is the character of a solutions provider. And this is the badge you want to wear. So as you're part of your first classes, and again, whether you're using a doTERRA DVD or an upline, whatever the case is, your part is that you're sharing how you have become the solutions provider in your home because you have a book in a box. That it's that simple. And that you're drawing from your personal experiences because there's somebody in the room who is possibly looking for an opportunity because they too would love to share. And so they're watching you and you want them to see themselves in it and say, I could do that. And then of course
Totally.
your key, remember what's the job that the handout does for this class? It's on the next page, Justin, is the job title of the Natural Solutions class is to enroll your prospects. So let it do that. Again, keep the main thing, don't go off on too many tangents. Keep it to very few simple things. And this is in fact the anatomy of a successful natural solutions presentation is 3 things only. Okay?
That's right.
Keep it super simple. What's an essential oil? How do you use them? And then really, really cool part of the class is you start out by saying, we're going to do 3 things together tonight. And when you get to the 3rd thing, and then I'm going to teach you how to get them in your home. Now, the close is awkward if you're like, okay, now's the time I'm going to ask for your money. Nobody wants that segue, right? So the segue to the close is now's the time to talk about how to get these in your home.
And I think there's so much beauty in making this engaging and fun because when you get to the end, one line I like to use is, if I heard you correctly, this is what you need.
Yes.
And it allows me to be able to go back to provide a solution for them for the needs that they were speaking about throughout the class. So find your own tagline in the close so that it feels good so that you can provide them the solution to take home.
Yeah, so if I hear you right, Casey, what you're saying is, okay, so we talked about being in the class, we're going to do 3 things, we come to our 3rd thing, which is how to get them in the home, and this is the time when we equip you to be that solutions provider in your home, and it's time for you to figure out what's that first box and book that you're going to have, or something like that, right? Yeah, that's a perfect way to combine those 2 things.
And you provided them also by using this handout everything they need to effectively and safely use the product in their home. So I love this going straight from this guide.
So because you're going to play the role of a hostess, one of the things to do is remember how you prepare for the action is as important or more important than the action. So doTERRA has created what's called a class in a box, which is designed to give you everything you need to successfully host a presentation. So you can look at the numbers here on the bottom of your screen and notice that they're thinking ahead for you, that you're going to invite more people than are going to show up. That's typical, right? You have enough handouts. They're actually preparing you to close every single person that comes, right? They've got 10 handouts and then 10 gifts that you can reward people for their enrollment or for attending. You can decide, what are some ways you guys have seen people use the magazines and the Wild Orange as far as wielding those wisely that come in the class in a box?
I see people give away wild oranges for if you bring a friend,
Mm-hmm.
they'll give you an oil. And you can also use them in a different setting.
Yes.
You don't
Yeah.
necessarily need to use these in a class.
I've seen people say, for coming, you're going to get a gift. So sometimes it's a gift for attendance. Also, for those of you who enroll tonight, you're going to go home with a free Wild Orange and a Living magazine.
Right. And what we like to do is also make sure we instruct them to open the oil while they're there, right? We don't want anyone leaving with an open bottle. We want to open on them because Wild Orange is happiness in a bottle.
Well,
So we want them to leave happy.
Look how cool that is. So right in the class, the second
There you go.
step in the teaching is a bottle of Wild Orange. So it's possible that it could be used as the class experience. Now, of course, you can
Right.
have your own Wild Orange open and pass it around.
Right.
It's not necessary that everyone has their own.
And you can use class in a box, or you could just go to that, you could just get the class handouts
Right.
and live, share, and build guides with your LRP. Whatever, again, this is the core system. We're going to teach you the essentials, and then you apply that in a way that works for you. So we're sharing.
I will
with
say this,
everybody
though.
that-
Where else are you going to get Wild Oranges for $2.50 or less?
Yeah.
I don't even think they're that much anymore.
This is
Like,
such a steal of a
this
deal.
is a
For
steal.
$25
Yeah.
Well, you
for
have-
all of this?
Yeah,
you
it's
have
like
to
everything else is
admit
free.
That if a woman brings home a small Wild Orange from a class, right, her husband's going to appreciate that Wild Orange, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Take it home, get it on him, in him, before they even have their oils.
Right.
Yeah.
So from a cost perspective, if you consider that each bottle of Wild Orange is only $2.50, that makes everything else in the box free. So it's a wonderful way. It's really a business in a box, too. It's a great way to kick off
Totally.
your business.
And this just goes into part of our purpose of having the class is to duplicate that class, right? We want the empowerment that happened in that class to continue. So we're going to, seed that in the class. And you might do it with a script like we've got outlined here. Likely you've thought of people you know who would benefit from the same experience. If you'd like to host your own gathering, see one of us. And if you book tonight, you get to take home this keychain, right? This is just one way that people are doing it, one example that you could use.
So remember, you're only as good as your next action. And so if one of your goals is to actually grow your business beyond a pool of customers, which of course is delightful, to build a customer community, remember there are people in that community who, like you, are looking for an opportunity. And so present it. They need to be invited. They don't know what they don't know. And people are looking for someone to, again, like you said, Justin, they're looking for choices and they want to be offered those choices. So this is a beautiful time to discover people that you may not otherwise identify as someone who is in fact looking for an opportunity. So as you're again early on and we're having you focus more on hosting and learning to present through these first events, do not miss this opportunity to already start duplicating yourself through future presentations because people want to host them.
This is the best time to ask for that because the people sitting in the seats listening to the class are thinking of all these people in their life that could be blessed by the oils, right? So this is a great time to make that invitation and get the class booked that night in preparation.
Well, and then you're offering yourself as that third-party witness. Like Eve came tonight for me, and together we showed up and taught you how to be solutions providers in your home. We're happy to come do that in your home. One of us can come and do that with you, however you want to offer that. and show them that it's a pay it forward type
Mhm.
experience. And then suddenly, again, will they see themselves in it more if they know they're not teaching it by themselves, they're hosting it, and someone else is coming and anchoring the presentation, and they have thought of all those people whose lives they want to change. They're going to say, yeah, I'll host a class.
I'm in.
They're excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's fun is we can't help but think of other, we don't even have to be asked. We can't help, when we hear about a
It's
solution,
natural.
we automatically think, oh, so-and-so would love that,
They
or
need
so-and-so needs that,
Yes.
right? So it's already happening, but we just got to help pull it out,
that.
right?
And work
And-
with that.
right,
What's
exactly.
already happening.
Okay, so on the opposite part of the spread, pages 10 and 11, we've covered everything about presenting the message. And as we're looking at what skills and awarenesses are really important early on in your doTERRA business building experience, understanding how to enroll successfully is a critical early skill. I love watching Casey and Justin's heads right now emphatically nod forward. That, yeah, the skill of closing is an excellent early focus, no doubt. So that takes us now.
To enroll.
Mm-hmm.
Aren't you guys excited? You're on your
Oh,
4 or
yeah.
5 sections of the site.
Enroll is where we make the magic happen, right? If people don't enroll and get the oils in their home, how much are we changing a
And
life?
what's funny about this is often people get stuck here. Like they're afraid to ask that question, like, oh no, it's come to that point, you know, and I don't want to say anything, and really the person is expecting you to.
They are.
They're because you've already set that
They're
expectation
disappointed
in the beginning.
if you don't.
Right. I attended a class once, I remember, and the class was great, lots of great energy, and the host of the class, as soon as it was over, literally told everyone they did not need to enroll. And I sat there and thought, why did I come? Right? She said, you guys don't need to enroll. It's okay. I'm like, they were ready to enroll.
It's like if you don't want to change your life, you don't need to enroll. But for those of you
Exactly.
who do,
We recovered. We did that. We recovered, and it was fine.
and,
It was
and
fine.
you know what, we've all had, again, I'm super glad that Eve's in the room because she just keeps it real for me because of all the builders that I've built with, every single one we've had those fallible moments where like we learned some of our very best lessons.
Yeah.
And you know what, those secret meetings that you talked about, Justin, what
Uh-huh.
we ended up meeting with was our hostess
Sure.
and discovering how we
Mhm.
could better prepare her for hosting and inviting people. I want to just take us back to the beginning of our time together today with the build guide. And we invited you right out the gates to anchor your commitment to your vision for your life. So when you think about that debt-free goal or the goal to travel more or to put that kid through college or pay off your house or whatever your goal is, or to have that time freedom or to help your spouse quit that second job, the chicken moments are getting uncomfortable and talking in the invite, and the other chicken moment can be right here at enrolling. So if you remember that I'm here to change lives, I'm here to change the lives of the people in front of me, and I'm here to change the lives of the people in my, my home sphere of influence, including my own, then it re-anchors you. And it gets you to get past yourself. Again, we're here to comfort the afflicted and to afflict the comfortable. So we're afflicting you with your vision for a better life because it will be the thing that causes you. Like, what if Natalie Goddard had chickened out? Like, seriously, the impact of her not pressing
Devastating.
forward with me
Devastating.
is not only devastating for Laura Jacobs individually, for my family, and for literally over 1 million lives because she opened her mouth. That's no small deal. I mean, I could get super emotional right now. That is no small deal for me. That she could have kept her mouth shut. But there are people, remember, we're just looking for people who are looking for us.
Right.
And if there's a few people in the room who, and I always say it like this, like if you're not ready to make a commitment and you just want to dip your toe in the water, no worries. Just pick up a bottle at retail and try it out for yourself. But for those of you who are ready, like myself, to make a commitment to a natural solutions lifestyle, want to be that solutions provider for your own body in your own home, let's get this going on, right? So it's with that energy that we move into the close, and I promise you, we all promise you, this is a way to overcome self because you are overcome by your mission.
Yeah, and a lot of effort has gone into the scripting here on this page. And as you see, there's 2 different options, option 1, option 2. Again, like the other scripts, make it your own. Don't read it word for word like a robot. People can tell, and that's not sincere, right? So make it your own. But there are some phrases in here that are very particularly chosen to help with the close. And you guys know that I hate the phrase, the close, right? I dislike it but we all know what it means. It means getting the enrollment, right? Getting the sale. But to me, you close on a house, you close on a property, and then that relationship is over. You never see those people again. So I like to use the phrase open, right? Because you're opening them to a new lifestyle, a new way of thinking, a new way of living, a new relationship, and it doesn't end tomorrow or today.
It's kind of like the word that we use for graduation, which is, oh my gosh, commencement, right?
Exactly.
It has
Oh,
like
beautiful.
dual meaning,
Beautiful.
right? It's dual meaning.
Beautiful.
Okay, so let's practice. Casey, how about we read, let's just kind of read through this for a second and
Let's
stir
do
some
it.
conversation. I think it's deserving.
You want me to read number 1?
Yep.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you the 2 most popular kits to get you started. This is the Home Essentials Kit, which comes with the top 10 oils, many of which we just talked about. It also includes a lovely diffuser for $275. The big favorite, however, is the Natural Solutions Kit. It literally comes with everything you see in the bathroom cabinet.
Right, so this is from the class page where we show the bathroom cabinet.
So it does serve in that moment to have your Natural Solutions class handout open. You're pointing visually to the entire bathroom cabinet that they've just had this exploration of. And then really, the whole point was for them to get cabinet envy, right? Like, go, I want a bathroom cabinet that looks that cool. And then when you say, and you can have it all in the Natural Solutions Kit, they're like, sign me up.
Right.
Yes. It is truly a lifestyle kit covering all 3 basic areas of interest, being prepared, self-care, and daily health habits. It comes with our finest diffuser, a box to store your oils in, and after placing your first loyalty rewards order, you automatically have 100 free products to use on some new favorite products to try. And bonus, you fast track yourself to the 15% level for your loyalty rewards points. You can see why this is our favorite kit.
Now, obviously, that experience would be far more significant if you have the Natural Solutions handout open, and it's what I call
You
point
can
and shoot.
see it all, yep.
And point and shoot is great for 2 reasons. One, the class is staying with you. You're literally telling them where to look, so you're holding it up and you're pointing to the kit, and then you're pointing to Fast Track, and perhaps you've already taken the time or will take the time at that point to explain what loyalty rewards are and why fast tracking is of value. Now remember, you also have that potential new builder sitting in your audience, because we expect as much as 1 in every 5 people sitting there will have some interest in doing this. And when they watch you point and shoot, what are they saying to themselves?
I can do that.
I can do that. That's
Yeah.
easy. I can handle that. Okay, close number 2.
And the close number 2 is more of just a simpler option, right? This is the Family Essentials Kit, more of a sample or travel size kit with 85 drops per bottle, and it's $150. The Home Essentials Kit has the same oils, but with 250 drops per bottle, and a diffuser for only $275. That's triple the amount of oils for less than twice the money. Both kits come with frankincense, which retails for $92 a bottle. So as you can see from these 2 scripts, we're kind of going into a little bit of why they would want each kit. You know, help them know what you know that they don't know, right?
Yeah.
So many people, you know, I find that people sometimes start out with a Family Essentials Kit, and then a few days later they're like, can I swap this? But they've already used all their all their oils. So just disclosing early, right?
Well, so a major, how do I say this in a way that people will receive it? A major, well, Justin, you already said that it's about choice, right? It's about giving people choices. So when you're in a sales environment, which admittedly we are here, we're selling a lifestyle. We're not selling oils. I want to be really clear about that. We are selling a lifestyle in a box, and it just depends on which lifestyle you want to start with. That by using comparison, you know, starting out. So doTERRA has a membership like Costco, and by purchasing the membership, you then get a discount.
Also price, yeah.
Right, and so you're able to compare, like there's retail, there's wholesale, and then there's below wholesale. And below wholesale is getting a kit, because now your membership is free and all the products in there are discounted. So in both examples, you're creating a comparison to help the mind make a decision. Because when I see the price tag on a Family Essentials Kit, maybe the price tag was appealing until someone told me that I'm actually paying more per drop in a Family Essentials Kit than I am in a Home Essentials Kit. Like, wait, I get twice.
It's important to point that out,
times as much oil for twice the price. Like, that's a really good consumer.
No-brainer.
Oh, and I get a diffuser? Yeah, then the decision for the person becomes no-brainer. But when we don't give them a sense of comparison, they don't know how to make a decision. It is our job to help them make a good buying decision. Now,
Yeah.
the reason why we have two options here, frankly, is because the whole class is designed to support you in selling which kit?
Natural Solutions.
The Natural Solutions kit. And it's highly possible. That's all I sold at the beginning because I didn't know any better. And when doTERRA came out with the first iteration of the Home Essentials kit, I was like, wait, why would I drop all of my enrollments from 400
Sure.
PV to 100 PV?
Well, there's this fabulous concept that's been proven true. People buy what we talk about.
It's true.
And so there was kind of a challenge in doTERRA for a while. Everybody was focused on teaching the Family Essentials kit, just teach the Family Essentials kit. So guess what people buy? Family Essentials kit. And they're missing out on all these better options
Right.
because we would just are not speaking to it.
Well,
Right.
and it's what we call selling from your own pocket, that we're afraid that people don't want to make the investment, and yet what we found statistically in doTERRA is there's actually a lot of consumers who were pretty grumbled later that they didn't get the better option. Can you imagine, like, look at how much
Yeah.
stuff you get for free. Have you done the numbers on how much you actually get for free on a Natural
Oh,
Solutions
yeah, yeah.
kit? Like, it's not the best. So what we're asking you to examine here is who's your audience, what offer you do on the way. I actually built doTERRA in the poorest county in the state of Oregon, the poorest county in the state of Florida, and one of those two counties is the third poorest county in the nation. And I'm here to tell you that people buy kits there, and I've sold more Natural Solutions kits in those environments than I have any other kit. Because you know what those people are buying? They're buying a quality of life.
Right.
When I'm sitting in front of a farmer whose body needs to function 12 hours a day, he's really excited about Deep Blue. When I'm sitting in front of that mother whose child isn't functioning well at school and she's spending a lot of time, energy, and money trying to solve that problem, and she now has a simple solution, that $500 or whatever, or $550 is going a long ways for her in creating value. So it's all about how you want to position the value, and all we're inviting you to do is think about the person on the other side of you, and that you're bringing value and a lifestyle to them, and you're helping them initiate that process in the way that's the most successful for them.
And you can do that if you've thought about them ahead of time. You can keep this close really simple,
Yeah.
right? We don't want to, there might be a few options on the page, but you're deciding which ones to highlight, right?
Yes.
Highlight in on that Natural Solutions kit, and then come back to the Home Essentials kit. And like, for example, this month with the special that's available, then you would say, yeah, and this Home Essentials kit and the Natural Solutions kit for these higher kits all qualify
Sure.
for the special this month. So you could get the car diffuser and these 3 oils for free. Take a moment to give that special right at that
Yeah,
time.
relating it to
Yeah.
whatever's going on with doTERRA, or maybe
Sure.
something that's going on inside your team as far as promotions. One of the things I wanted to present is when I close a class, I only ever talk about the Natural Solutions kit. I use one kit as my example. The confused mind says no. So I want them to understand there's retail, there's wholesale, there's a below wholesale. Here's an example. It's this kit. These are all the things you save on it, including a free membership, get free points, everything. That allows me then to talk about the loyalty rewards program, and then that's the end of my discussion. Now when I'm one-on-one with them, and I've already invited them in my close to pick the kit that's best for them and
Right.
their family. Now I'm in the one-on-one situation. Maybe this is where they're toggling from a budget perspective between Family Essentials and Home Essentials. That's when I'm actually going to use the second script, is I'm going to teach them the value of Home Essentials, 3 times as much oils, half the price.
Right.
Then I'm going to use that in that one-on-one conversation, and that's what I'm also going to point out. And by the way, you would also get the free special doTERRA has, because that would take you over the 200 PV. So remember, this is why the class shouldn't be too long, or the presentation,
Right.
because you save the time afterwards, because they're going to capture more of that kind of information from you in the one-on-one. And they're going to say, well, how did you start, Justin? What kit
Oh,
did
that
you
is
get?
such, I'm so glad you said that, because that is a critical question, and you don't think that they're going to ask it, but they will.
They do.
What did you do? Because it's social, we all like to do, what did they do? I'm going to do what they did, right? How did you get started, Natalie? And I would often say, well, back then, we didn't have very many options, right? They were very limited. But if I had the options that were available today, I would start here, right? Because this would have been the best deal.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I'd say, well, I bought the biggest kit doTERRA had, one for
Exactly.
my home and one for my business.
Exactly.
Because I wanted to get started right away with the lifestyle. I saw the value, and I
Yeah.
wanted to have as many things in my home right out of the gates, and I wanted to have an oil collection I could play with right away. And again, think of your audience, who's in front of you, how can you best serve them?
Well, and if you ever feel like, if you ever sense that the other person is feeling pressure, pressure, because we don't do that, right?
No.
But if for some reason you ever sense that, I found it really effective to literally tell them, it doesn't matter to me where you start. What matters is that you start.
Right.
Right? That's what matters. It does matter to me that you start.
Right.
Where doesn't matter.
Right.
And it just diffuses, it takes all of that pressure out, and they can really focus in on what is best for their needs.
It's just like the build guide and the sorting hat.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what you pick. It's that you pick to engage to start changing your life. And then you can renegotiate your relationship with yourself later. It's important to get started.
If you diffuse any pressure that they begin to feel, then they're free to make that choice that's best for them. And you'll see in the black text on this page, it's choose the kit that's best for you and your family. I mean, these are some really clear statements that you know. And then you just transition right into, hey, there's the essential oil infused treats over there. Enjoy those. And if you have any questions, Laura and I will be coming around and we can answer any of those questions.
Okay, so let's review what we know from the top half of the page. We seeded the clothes at the beginning and said we're going to do 3 things. We got to the third thing was we're going to talk about how to get them in your home. So when you come to the clothes, you repeat that. All right, we talked at the beginning, and now we're going to talk about how to get them in your home. You have pick a clothes, right? Pick a clothes, drive people to a particular kit choice, and then you're inviting the interaction after the interaction, right? That's the best part is the one-on-one, and then what's keeping them there, what's anchoring them to stick around is the social experience of trying the snacks, the invitation to have your one-on-one attention, and they stay. They really do stay, right?
Unless your class is 2 hours, then they leave.
Then they leave. They will leave.
But you're dialing this in,
That's
so
right.
it's all within that hour, and you've got space. So these are just some great tips so that, as you're encouraging them to get a kit, they've got multiple products on hand. I always like to say, before Saturday night, you need to have those oils in your home ahead of time. You get to be prepared with those.
Oh, yeah, I love that. Yeah, the time to have an oil is now, so that at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning when the kid is like, that thing we ate for dinner isn't really sitting very well right now.
That thing.
Yes.
Dinner was that good, huh?
So digest then right then and there, or I sent kids off to college. The time to have a need when you live 2,000 miles away from home is you already have the oil in your dorm room, right? Right. Okay, so we have tips here. These are just things to help you, right, bring up. So number 1, Natalie already said, where, teach them to have products on hand. Share with them what you loved and what you feel. Don't be afraid to suggest things to them. People need you. That's why that trusted guy with the lawnmower t-shirt guy is there to say, hey, this is what I'm doing. That's when that person really, really matters, is they're wanting to look at what they did. And then always connect things back to people's priorities and help them see, how is this kit going to benefit? Justin, you always do such a good job of teaching about the difference between features and benefits.
Yes. We get distracted thinking that, because we all love that doTERRA is debt-free and the owners walk on water when it's frozen, and that, and that all these amazing factoids about doTERRA. And for a lot of years, I was really distracted by that. Like, I spent 10 minutes in my presentations talking about how amazing doTERRA is, and
organoleptic testing.
And I really got into the factoids. And while they're cool and they're important to us, and we value them, to the brand new person that's sitting there thinking, I don't care, right? Why? How does this affect me? What's the benefit to me? I need help with this issue. Great, the company's debt-free. That's great. But what does that mean to me? Right? Why does that matter?
Well, so the factoids that are the most important, so I'll put myself in the position of a young mom who has precious bodies in her care. So what do I care about the most? That I am buying products from a company who is trustworthy. Okay, so how would we prove trustworthy? That I'm purchasing products that are pure. Okay, how would I prove pure?
Right.
Those are the factoids that I need as a mom to feel safe about my decision, that I'm getting value and I'm getting something that's beneficial and I'm getting something that's safe. So now we're anchoring back here So now that she's over that, so we're actually overcoming some objections early. Do you want all those questions to come up at the end? What if you never talked about CPTG? What if you never separated doTERRA's oils from synthetic perfume oils in the industry? What if you never set them apart? Well, guess what you're going to have to answer at the end? So a lot of overcoming objections, the art of closing is that you already thought about the 10 things that's already rolling through their mind. You've already answered them. They're now at ease to now move in. Now they're really focused on themselves. Okay, I get that these things work. Now I want to take care of me. And so really helping them make those connections is a super beneficial part of how you're presenting. And the good news is you don't have to think about all that stuff. Maybe we're going into like deep dive sales training here. So let go of all that. All we want in and out is if you simply follow the process we've laid out, you can't go wrong. We've thought all that through for you. We've got the right factoids on the page, right? We haven't weighted it incorrectly.
And at this stage, most of your closing, you know, you're going to have people that are helping you on a class, typically, and most of your closing would be just in a little one-on-one. So if you run into any objections, these are the objections that you can address, right? These are the most basic ones that we find most often, and, you know, these are just a simple response. I find that if I address an objection with a question, it helps the person look deeper. And honestly, I don't have the answers for them inside of me. I never have to know all the answers. The best answers are within them. So I'm just going to bring a question back to them, and they're going to look deeper, and we're going to discover more.
Well, the most powerful act is the act of self-selection. So by asking questions, you're inviting people to decide for themselves what is best for them. And that is the healthiest environment that we can create from a sales perspective, is to create a place where they feel safe, not pressured, and yet educated and empowered to make an excellent decision for themselves.
I don't know about all of you, but when I first started doTERRA, I thought, you know, my husband and I worried whether we would have any friends in a year, right? Because and now my only problem is sometimes I have too many friends. How do we
You can
connect
never
with
have
all
too many
these
friends,
people?
right?
How do I connect with all these people? We love it, right? But it's because we come at it in this way and help people really choose in with something that they feel good about. That then we don't have buyer's remorse. We don't have people that wish they would have done something different because we've gone through this process.
You know, I have discovered that someone has an objection, and usually isn't their real concern, right? It usually it's a front.
There's something
And so I have had great success just rephrasing whatever the objection was back to them in the form of a question.
Like reflective listening.
Exactly.
Right?
So if Laura says to me, well, I can't really afford a kit right now, you know, and that's her objection, then I can just take that exact question and just flip a few words and turn back to her. I'm like, well, what exactly does that mean you can't afford? And I'm just asking her, I want deeper. I want deeper information, right? And maybe that gets into our sales training piece, which is coming at a different training. But it does let them really start to voice what's the real concern. Right.
Well, it really goes back, Justin, to the whole inviting thing. We said to connect, to share, and invite. So what if you use the same thing? So first I'm going to connect. I'm going to connect again. I care about you. And then I'm going to share. You know, I understand that. You know, when I signed up or whatever, I was concerned about money as well. And here's how I did that. And then invite. So I'm inviting you to make the decision that's best for you and your family. So what if we kept our sales training that simple? Reconnect authentically. First, they need to know you care. To share. How did you deal with the same kind of an objection? Or how have you seen someone else? Maybe you don't relate personally, but surely you've probably seen somebody else. So share that, how someone else overcame, and then invite them once again to make the decision that's best for them.
And everything that's being shared here is a wealth of experience. So if you want to dive deeper, you can watch this again. We haven't actually done a role play on this close, but if you're in a typical launch training, you could do role play on this close. You could do role play with some of these objections. So you just start feeling a little bit more comfortable. But no, on enrolling, you don't need to be an enrolling expert. You just need to ask these powerful questions, and you'll get where you need to be.
Everybody's selling something all the time. You're selling your kids on dinner. You're selling your husband on why you want to go to that movie. You're selling your friends on why you're going to go to that restaurant. So you're not doing anything you don't already normally do.
And the number one thing that we're all always selling is ourselves. I mean, it's really true. Oftentimes, and this is kind of maybe bold to say, but oftentimes the people that come to your class have made the decision to join you before the class even started.
Based on you and your certainty.
Right.
Yeah.
Based on the interaction prior. They've already decided, and you haven't even started the meeting yet, right? And so it's crazy, but it's true.
It is true.
Yeah.
Very true.
I ultimately let my passion lead my close. You know, so the way you speak and your conviction and your love for the product and the company is pretty much all you need, and then you just need to show them the solution.
Exactly. So let's go back. Let's recap that we seeded the close at the beginning, which helps to remove the awkwardness. We're going to do 3 things together, da-da-da-da-da, the third of which is then we'll talk about how to get them in your home. So you arrive there, you've already given yourself permission to talk about it, and all you're tying it into is now we're going to talk about how to get that book in a box in your home so you're prepared to be that solutions provider. And moving right on in, you know, and you can even say, you know, in my home, I started here and I loved it and it changed everything. And if you want to tell a personal 30-second story there about what you did before you even offer a kit, I think that's really valuable. It's just to speak from your experience because people want to know, what did you do? Okay. Dun, 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 dun.
Step
Step 5.
Step 5. We are to our 5th and
Home
final
stretch.
chapter, home stretch, yes. Now, if we were to wait where you put your energy, right? So we talked about in the beginning, prepare. Then we talked about IPing, which is everything you do with your prospects. And then we talk about support. We tend to spend a good portion of our energy in our IPing zone, right? Where we're dating the prospect, we're presenting to them, we're enrolling them, we're following up with them. So the initial part of support is a critical piece to our success. In fact, there's this great quote that we all love, which is, thank you, Michael Klaus, right?
Yep.
Fortune is in the follow-up. And if you want to partake of doTERRA's stellar retention, this next step is everything. And we already talked about it earlier, that moving into the lifestyle overview is in fact the second close. So how perfect, right? We just spent all this time talking about closing and enrolling. This is the second enrollment. And this is them enrolling permanently into their lifestyle.
Really, sometimes this gets overlooked, right? We focus so much on that first close and then getting kit, when this makes all the difference. Because this is them knowing how to use the products, knowing how to bring them into their life. This is where we make the real impact, right? I like to say if you'll invest this 1 hour, you know, and you could take less time than that. We just find that it takes about an hour to do a lifestyle overview. And if you'll invest that time with each person that you enroll, it'll be worth its weight in gold.
Totally. Now you're going to recognize the bullet points to your left were exactly the same bullet points when we were back on your Fuel to Launch page. And we were talking about the lifestyle overview for you, right, as a newer member. And now we're looking at it for you to turn and pay it forward with the same experience. That you're teaching people. I love Melina Harrison always says, I don't want to sell you anything that you don't know how to use. And I think that's a beautiful commitment that we're making. If I'm going to share with you, you need to get this kit, well, let me teach you how to use it. As Natalie reminded us, again, back in our presentation, it's about setting up a daily wellness plan and the vitality of that and actually knowing how to use these things in your daily lifestyle. That's what we presented in the Natural Solutions presentation, is have some daily health habits and helping people establish those as part of their everyday life.
And this lifestyle overview is so key that we go into the steps 1, 2, and 3 of what it's all about. And here's just a little checklist for you. That as you do it, you're just going to get more comfortable and more comfortable doing this. You know, you can always send that Live Guide video that it had on the checklist from the page before. You can always send that to help prepare somebody. But this is very simple. You literally are walking through the Live Guide.
You know, since you brought that up, Natalie, let's just go back here really quick because I think what you said is important. So on the left-hand side, one of the things Natalie is indicating is we do have Live Guide videos. There's a couple of different ones you can use on the Empowered Success website. That's a warm-up experience to prepare someone. If you want to cut the time down, maybe you want to have your lifestyle overviews be more like a half hour, then let them come prepared to that process. Also, there's going to be people in this situation who are going to have the time to do this one-on-one, and then other people might find themselves in a space of more volume. Like maybe
Maybe they're building online. Maybe you're
Right.
enrolling a lot of people at a booth or something like that.
yes. And so now all of a sudden you find yourself with 15 enrollments that you need. Maybe you had a really rock star weekend. You did 4 natural solutions presentations in 3 days. You have 15 enrollments, and you need to follow up with all of them. It's okay to also set up a group experience. It could be a Zoom call or even a conference call where everybody gets on and they're invited to have their lifestyle or the Live Guide in front of them and then walk them through it. And again, if that group came prepared having watched a video, then you could just walk each person through doing the actual steps.
So you don't need to be attached to how it happens, just that it happens, right? It's so essential. And you're going to follow the same checklist, whether you're doing it in a group setting or a one-on-one setting, to address their questions, to help them see themselves in the lifestyle and get them connected.
Every page of the Live Guide was carefully crafted.
Oh, man.
Every word, for that matter, was carefully crafted to ensure that this new consumer has the right initial experience, that we really breathe life.
It's really catered to them.
It is.
It's so
for
catered
them.
to them.
Well, in fact, if we were to just go back and reflect on page 2, which is the page, to the left side of the lifestyle pyramid, there's a really great couple things in there. One, we're saying, welcome to your new self-directed healthcare, that this is what you've chosen. That congratulations on choosing to live empowered. Congratulations on choosing into the new 80-20 plan, which means you have a book in a box. So this is where we're presenting that being the solutions provider in their home to them is in the Live Guide. And don't skimp on this outline. Make sure you go through every part. It's like an accordion as far as time goes. This can be done in shorter windows of time or greater windows of time, but move through it and make sure you're breathing life into the pages, because this is a cute little booklet for them to go back to and reference, right?
And you'll find the first part you're mostly flipping through, right? Until you get to the Wellness Consult page on page 16, and there you're going to go deeper into their health, concerns, or the things that they want to focus in on, and help them put together that plan. And then you're just simply, after you've got that piece together, which will fuel their LRP for the coming months, it really sets all that up for success.
Well, this is the moment where you really have an opportunity to ignite the solutions provider in them. Because you have 2 pages next to each other. On the left, on page 16, you've got the Wellness Consult. So if you've got your Live Guide sitting next to you, this is a great time to have it open and be following along. On page 16, you've got your Wellness Consult, which is all, again, the right appropriate steps for helping to get their minds going. Starting out, however, with what do you have? So on the right, on page 17, there's a checklist, and it's where they go in and they check off what they have. The best way to help them is to, remember our promises? We want you to know how to use everything you've got. So check off everything they've got and then show them how to employ that into their daily plan. And then also notice perhaps if they have some holes. And this is what helps them begin to build their next subsequent LRP orders over the next 90 days as they start to strategize, what's my wellness plan for myself and my family, and what other tools do I want to bring in? And there's some pros. Just like, Natalie talked about earlier, is the best way to move things forward, and Justin, is to ask more questions. And so let that whole, again, don't skim on that wellness consult. It also does a great job of, as we have here in step 3, is the only way they're going to be a really great solutions provider is they have a book and a box, right? So this is when we invite them to have some kind of reference guide or app that is that tool where without, all you need to know is your alphabet, and you go look up anything that you want to solve and find some oil recommendations.
So powerful. So then we go back to the big spread, and what's on the other side is this new member follow-up. And this just gives you a visual of the process that you're in this follow-up process, right? So once they've enrolled, then we're having this lifestyle overview, whether it's one-on-one or in a group setting. And then at the end of this, you'll notice on the back of the Live Guide, again, like we were talking about earlier, it forks every time. So we're going to give them the option to continue as a customer, where they're going to just keep using the products for their health. They're going to enroll probably as a wholesale customer, and they may or be on LRP. If they choose to share, they want to share with those they love, because we've given this invitation there at the end, then they're going to continue on to see how that arrow is taking you to the share guide for that hosting overview, and then we've got the class that they can help host, right? If they choose to build a business and they want to create an income, then our next step will be going to the build guide or the business overview, and then moving forward to the launch. So this just gives you a quick visual overview of the path. As each person chooses the path they want to take in doTERRA, the guides are just there to support those key paths, those key choices.
Yes.
And these initial guides cover the important conversations, right? All these key conversations.
So Natalie, if we go all the way back to our image of the pipe from the build guide, when we talked about hiring the guides to do a job for you, right? And so I want you to have your eyes on that when you go and you look through a Natural Solutions handout, you're going to come to a page where there's multiple guides that are being shown, and we're offering people to change lives, their own as well as others. And then we come to the end of the share guide, and what do we have? We have an invitation to move into the build guide, and we come to the end of the live guide, and there's an invitation, the build guide. Every guide always seeds the next interaction. And so I love that you pointed that out, that in fact, if we go back a slide, and whoops, wrong way, and we look here again, that the third section here, right, is connect, and so they're being connected to the community. You've got a community that you can hook them into by way of doTERRA's education or your team education, or both, where they join a community of education. And then, as you talked about on this next page, whoops, I keep going in the wrong direction, there we go, there's a sorting hat here. Now, some people will know early on that they're ready to be a sharer or they're ready to be a builder. Others, it'll take time. And so this isn't your one and only time to place yet another sorting hat in front of them. The point here, and why this is being mentioned, is you have a 14-day window that upon enrolling a wholesale customer, which the majority by far of your enrollments will be a wholesale customer, then it behooves you to connect with them, right? So during that lifestyle overview, this is a time when you're identifying additionally what level of play do they want to be about, so then you can service that level of play, and that interaction really gives you permission to have that. Now when it comes to all these guides, we are not doing a deep dive on every guide and swamping you with like a bazillion ideas in education. We're trying to work through the launch guide particularly. We want to invite you to go back to the Empowered website, just like we talked about earlier today, and know that there is a deeper dive education on every single one of these guides. So when it comes to doing a lifestyle overview, it's one of, just like closing and enrolling, it's one of your most important early skills. So how are you going to master that? Just like teaching a class, we recommend that wherever possible, do your first few with an upline. So invite your upline to hang with you and do a first few lifestyle overviews, and or get on the website and watch a couple experts, right? Teach how to do one of those, and then you can replicate that. And so use that website as a really great point of education. Okay, we're on the home
Wow.
stretch here. Last 2 pages.
I
I
think they should all know some history about this page. This page probably took 3 months, maybe more.
That's after we spent how
That's
many
after
years?
6 years.
I know. When you get a lot of driven leaders in the same room, there is no one way to do this business, right? There are many, many ways, and it took a little bit of consensus building for all of us to come to agreement on one philosophy, one approach to placement, to strategy and placement.
This is one that will work for you from the
Absolutely.
get-go and that you can trust. And I love that it's built on, in doTERRA, the main principle of placements is just placing people where they will grow best. When you trust that process and follow that principle, everything seems to work out in the end, and you're going to get the growth that you desire. And so that's the very first of these powerful tips.
So what we're saying is, if you were to come to us and say, well, where should I place this person?
Right.
There is no hard and fast rule.
No,
Correct.
It's always going to be about the person.
it always depends.
Right.
It
On the
always
person.
depends.
And the answer is always, well.
It depends.
It depends. Right? Now, so why have we preempted the placement conversation with the Lifestyle 14-Day Strategy? Because what we're teaching you is it depends on what you know. Depends on what you've experienced. So when you take the time to have a lifestyle overview with someone and you have an idea, you've had questions, you've had interactions, you're able to seed then your knowledge, because that's why doTERRA, I mean, my gosh, how forgiving and how supportive of doTERRA to let us enroll someone in our family tree and then move them once within 14 days.
Yeah, no one does that, by the way. No one does that.
Mm-hmm.
It is a completely unique benefit to being part of doTERRA is that we have that trial and error window. You know?
Right. So honor doTERRA's window. There's a reason why it's 14 days. There's lots of reasons because they want to honor their own comp plan and make sure that people are using that wisely. And so there's a contract between us and doTERRA where doTERRA is saying, we're inviting you to take a couple weeks to do that really, really critical follow-up and really nurture your new enrollment, discover their goals, help them discover their goals, right? That person doesn't know what they don't know. So don't assume they know immediately, I want to be a customer, sure, or a builder. That's us presenting the possibilities to them. We're back to everything is a book of possibilities and exposing them so they can make their own best decisions.
So work with the people that brought you into doTERRA, consult with them initially as you get the hang of this placement strategy, right? And that will serve you well. You know, we have this whole wholesale customer piece that should be considered in here, but just as an overview, yeah.
There's two tops to this, so we'll go to this top first.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We're all like,
Nobody wants
ready!
to talk about
Yes.
Well, no, I think we
Whole
just got
world.
confused about where we are. Okay, so the top of the page, the next slide is on the left-hand side, the top portion of the page. We're just
Right.
giving some basic placement
Okay.
tips. You deserve to read through all of this. And, okay, so let's just read this. The pace of building team structure varies, depending, there's that word, depending on when your builders or business partners are enrolled and engaged determines the rate at which you launch each new leg. Well, what if you sign that person up as a customer a year ago and now they want to build? Well, they can now be converted to a wellness advocate, and guess what? The clock starts ticking all over again,
Right.
and now you can move them again because doTERRA is so generous. So, for example, some start with one builder and grow from there, while others may start with 3 legs. Perhaps they begin with a larger network or previously established relationships. That was myself. I've been doing wellness for a long time. I had a lot of people, and I brought a lot of people on quickly. Other times, what I tell people is, gosh, really, you've got this one builder, they're showing up in your world, nurture, really get them to a level of success, focus, and then it's kind of like raising babies. Sometimes it's hard to raise triplets.
Right.
Okay, now for the unintimidating topic of wholesale customers, doTERRA has made some changes in their compensation plan, which for those of you who are newer, you don't care about the history, it's just what is. But this is a beautiful thing. Backstory, wholesale customers are not limited to the same sharing as a wellness advocate. So this allows someone who simply has no interest in making money in doTERRA the ability to keep their experience in a customer lane, and also allows them to interact with their stories differently than someone who is earning an income and then has the right to actually sponsor people underneath them. So Justin, what's our recommendation as a whole? What's the general thing about enrolling people?
So general recommendation is that everyone begin as a wholesale customer. Unless they are out of the gate talking the business, or maybe they even have an enrollment or 2 ready to go.
They're ready to build.
They're ready, yeah, and obviously they have to be a wellness advocate right away, right? A wholesale customer cannot have any people enrolled in their team because they can't have a team because they're a customer.
They can't earn money.
They can't earn money, they can't earn commissions, they can't enroll other people. They are in the true sense of the word a customer. They use the product. Now, so all of you know, this is about 82% of doTERRA, which is phenomenal.
Powerful.
Yeah, go find
so
any other direct
powerful.
selling company that's populated
Yeah.
almost entirely with customers.
Yeah, most direct selling companies in our profession, the majority are in it for the business, right? The product is just kind of almost an honorable mention, right? At some of their meetings, they hardly talk about the product, right? And so to have a company where 82% are really just end users, customers, gives us tremendous stability as a company and gives you stability as a builder in your check because you know your customers are going to keep buying and keep using. And then when those customers do decide, and this just happened to me 2 weeks ago, my neighbor, he's been enrolled for 9 months. and just, casual product user. He hadn't even ordered every single month. It was more like every other month or so. And just out of the blue at church, he starts asking all the right questions. And so guess what? He's a wellness advocate now, right? And off to the races we go. And it just took a little bit of time, to get into this. Hey, I'm really loving what this is doing. Let's talk. Let's talk about it. And now he upgrades, and that opens a 14-day window, a second 14-day window, because you have the initial one when they first enroll. Then when they upgrade, which is free, by the way, upgrading takes 2 seconds. They click on become a wellness advocate. They put in their tax ID number.
In their back office.
Right, whatever country you're in. Here in the U.S., it's their social security number, and they do that in their back office, and boom. And then you get this fun little email that says, so-and-so just upgraded. You now have a 14-day window. This goes to the enroller, by the way. You have to be the enroller. If you're not the enroller, it's going to go to whoever is. And it's going to be their choice as to if they want to move them.
And this is only if it's after 90 days.
Correct.
Right? So you have the first 14 days that they could upgrade, and you could change their placement. If
Right.
in that 90-day window, after day 14 up to 90, they upgrade to a wellness advocate.
They stay where they are.
Stay where they are. So
Yeah.
you might want to think a little bit strategically
About timing of the
yeah,
Yeah.
customer, about timing and a customer's placement. What I love about this whole process is let's go all the way back again to how we started our day with Fuel Your Launch. Page 4 of the launch guide, right? First thing that happens that fuels your rocket is your belief in the product. So never feel bad about a 90-day window or 9 months, whatever the case is, where someone is
Right.
fueling their heart and their mind with the courage to share because the oils are rocking their life. Right? And that's what
Absolutely.
that's what the whole margin of time is for. One of the top leaders in all of doTERRA, as she begins launching every new builder, the first thing she invites is somewhere between 60 to 90 days of really dedicated product use. Because she knows that when they have that experience, and I'm not saying that everybody, that's just what she's doing, that's her best practice. I think there's something to that, to make sure you're focusing on product education and product love. Otherwise, we're just one of those other companies where we're simply selling a comp plan and we're completely missing the boat. And again, this is what makes us so unique in doTERRA, is we have such a strong product offering.
Totally.
The last thing on this bullet list is literally placing those customers, whether it's initially or when they, when you're moving them after they upgrade to being a wellness advocate, where they may have similar interests with others they already know.
Yeah, common, right? You're creating community.
Oh yeah, for sure. You also want to make sure this structure suggestion that's here is brilliant because I've seen too many people take customers and just stack them on their front level. I was looking at someone the other day. They literally have over 25 customers on their front line, and it
And if
doesn't.
you've done that, don't
Yeah,
worry.
that's true. Maybe that's you.
Don't worry. But this is the ideal, right?
Correct.
Just so we can line out that ideal.
So let's pause for just a second and let's just be uplines together for a minute. So those of you who are new to launching their business and those of you who are listening who are going to train those who are new, it's our commitment as an upline to teach people. When they made a commitment to make money, then it's our commitment to teach them how to
We
do
have to
it.
guide them.
We need to guide them. They don't know what they don't know. And so a person who has 25 customers strung across their front line didn't realize there was a different
they didn't know.
structure. They didn't know.
Yeah.
And so as an upline, take a look at that and say, you know what? I can increase my education on compensation. Honestly, do we all not want engagement here? Do we not want our
Totally.
builders to come and
Yeah.
stick around? Well, guess what's one of the best ways to keep them?
Right.
To get results,
Right.
to actually make
Oh.
a paycheck.
Totally.
So structure is everything to that. So look here at the diagram,
And those of you that are new, if you don't know, please ask.
right?
Right? All of us sitting here, we want that interaction. If it go to your upline silver, your upline diamond, you will, and maybe you'll have to call a couple people, Some of you can call one person, maybe it'll be 2 or 3 people, but you will find someone that will support your question as to where I should place someone.
So this is probably one of these lessons where we don't want to overwhelm you if you're new, and we don't want to underwhelm you if you're new, because then later there could be regret. So I'm going to explain just a little principle, and I want you to hear me really, really well. On the very next page, the last page in the guide, we're going to talk about finding business partners, and these 2 pages are next to each other for a reason. So the ideal structure here is that on your front line, you necessarily have to have builders, or in other words, wellness advocates, because you can't place anyone under a customer. So let's put yourself in the shoes of your initial build to your team. You're starting out with your list, you're hosting presentations in your home, at your work, wherever, and now you have 10 new customers. So now what are you going to do with them? If you have no other wellness advocates on your team, there is no other place to put your customers. They will be strung across your front line. That would be the other reason why you'd have 25 people. Now, what could you do with your 14-day window? If this is why I like to do more than one class at a time when somebody's first building. I have a little philosophy that I've done 24 times on my team, and it kind of happened by accident, and then I caught on to my own axe, and I'm like, hey, this is kind of cool. It came out of necessity because I was traveling to builders, and so we needed to do a lot of events in a short window of time. When I was there, I was raising 5 kids. I couldn't luxuriously hang out at their house for 30 days. I could hang out for 3 days. So then we would stack some classes. I'd fly in on Thursday. We'd do one Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday morning, I'd fly home. So necessarily then we would have a lot of enrollments, right? So now you can have 10, 12, 15 enrollments even in a weekend because you've done a series of classes repeatedly. And that's easier perhaps on that upline person who's going to come help you, is you're kind of in this together and getting it done. Well, now in your 14-day window, while you're following up, because you have more people to work with, let's say you haven't recruited any business partners yet. You can recruit them out of your customers. And because you're doing your lifestyle overviews and you're seeding the next action and you're asking questions, you can identify a few people out of that collection who would potentially be interested in having a business. And then they can convert to wellness advocates, and you can build the very structure you see here. Now picture as well that there would be customers even across your own front line. Ideally, to solidify future bonuses, you would have 3 builders and maybe also 3 customers, because that creates the kind of volume you'll need to always qualify. And then the same would be true for your second level, that they may have their 3 builders, but also have some customers to shore up that volume. So hoping that gives you a good big picture to help you see some strategy ahead, because we don't want you ending up with 10 people on your front line and then your paycheck isn't what you're dreaming of because you're lacking. doTERRA literally does pay you for structure. It's one of your 4 bonus pathways, right?
And I love that it's outlining your business partners. You're going to see this on the very next page, are committed and capable. If we're looking at this ideal layout, you're looking for somebody that's committed, they completed the 3 steps in the build guide, and they're capable because they can enroll someone on their own. So these guidelines, lots of top leaders have used this in their placement structure, and it's really helped them.
Yeah.
So
this is proven over time.
Let's preempt the next slide with the following statement, and that is that let's say this is your build, these are your people, these are your enrollments, what are you going to do with them? And again, picture, and we don't want to make the diagram all cluttered, but picture that at each level you have, again, pocketed customers in there to shore up volume. So this is kind of how would you play with the leads that you have, and how would you structure them, and then when your person comes in, they're going to tuck in their own structure, right? So when you look at your first 3 business partners and then they have builders underneath them, those could be your enrollments of people who maybe have a lesser commitment to building and sharing, and then so you're pocketing them into different teams. But that still allows your builder to come in and bring in their own business partners. And so all the while you're shoring up the structure, but building towards a valuable income. Which takes us to the next discussion, which is you have to understand enroller and sponsor in order to create structure.
Enroller is such a key part, and you as the first one that's sharing with someone or bringing them to a class, you would be that enroller and you would stay that enroller. You're going to keep that enrollership until it makes sense to transfer to the sponsor or another builder for rank advancement. But there's a lot of things that hinge on enroller in doTERRA. It's the person that receives fast starts, or whoever that enrollee was for their first 60 days of their enrollment. We get that question a lot, right? If you're the enroller, you are going to get the fast start bonus for that first 60 days. And anyone that you enroll throughout your whole experience in doTERRA, you're going to get that fast start again every time you enroll.
So Casey, when you, because you know, as a doTERRA presidential double diamond, you've obviously built a little bit, right? So what have you found? Because we're talking to either a new builder themselves, or we're talking to a leader who wants to teach a new builder, and this is probably, I mean, why do you think Justin paused and gave you the backstory on the history of building the page? Because it's like this delicate balance between, we got to tell you some things, but we don't want to overwhelm you. So when you're talking to a new builder and you're thinking about enroller sponsor, what are the things you really want them to grasp at this stage in the game?
Yeah, so I keep it super simple, and I speak to the message that the enroller is basically the person that you've enrolled or invited to the class, and the sponsor is merely just placement. So you still hold enrollership of that person that you place within your organization, and this is the beauty of doTERRA. I truly, this is probably my very favorite part about the business, is that the way that this is structured is that we are all part of a partnership. So by being able to sponsor our enrollments underneath our teams, we're creating leadership within them, as well as protecting ourselves within the structure that doTERRA pays us off of. So sponsor is placement, enroller is the person that you personally enroll or bring to the event.
So what I'm kind of hearing you say is, like, let's say you had 10 babies. You can try to raise them all yourself, or you could share the love in the community, right? And so we can leverage the sense of community. So hence the diagram of showing, and really it's so important to hear you and Natalie talk about enroller goes to the person who literally enrolled the person, and it can be given away.
It's the person that introduced them.
Yeah, it's the person who brought them to the feast.
Right.
And it can be given away, but it needs to be given away strategically, because it is kind of like adopting off a kid. So the sponsorship allows a semi-adoption off. So like I've placed, for example, I just enrolled someone that's a contact, and I placed them on my team in a place strategically, because I know the kind of care they're going to need. And I know my assets, and I know my limitations at this point. Like Natalie said, you get a lot of people in your life, right? You start, okay, how many people can I manage, and can I manage successfully? So I'm sharing that contact with someone who I know has the capacity to provide care that I'm going to be limited. And together, we're going to be a better upline to that person than if it were individualized. It also could be a relationship. It might be mothers, cousins, neighbors, friends, brother, and you start looking at, how do I cluster people by who knows who? And how do I honor relationships? So such, again, a tough subject in some ways, and yet so essential that we really want you to get dirty here, like jump in this water and get messy. And really, the best way to learn placements is to place people. And that's where you learn the hard way, right?
And you know what? You will make mistakes.
You will.
Don't beat yourself up. It happens to all of us, and you learn from them. And,
sometimes you learn to trust the process, that the
Yeah.
mistake really was a miracle.
Right.
And if you would hold it in that space, it's fun to watch what emerges and what blessings can come of what you could, like, kick yourself because, like, oh, why didn't I put that person in my front line? And yet just look, hey, there's a natural alliance that occurred here with two people. How can I foster and nurture that?
And the beauty, too, just to keep in mind, is that you really can't mess up with doTERRA's comp plan. As long as you hold enrollership, you could place them on your third level, and they could be amazing over time. And it's okay. Like, just embrace that and know that you're doing the right thing.
I think our compensation plan is a forgiveness plan.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we know you messed that up, but hey, here's plan A, B, C, and D as to ways you can still be compensated, right?
Well, and now you'll notice on this page there's a couple key tips. Now placements has become really easy. So just be as intentional as you can be in this process. Follow these guidelines here, and it tells you how to change sponsor on this page. You can do that from your back office.
And there's a lot of great info there
about
on that on that website. There's tutorials.
Yes.
There's a lot of great content that goes far more in depth than what we have here.
And if you need help or an exception, or you have a question, there, email placements@doterra.com. That's what
they are brilliant at what they do. They are absolutely brilliant. And I'm so glad you emphasized, really, so go to your back office, go to your team tab.
Team, yes.
And on the left, there's these little links there. Take the time to go learn about placements. And maybe the first time you read it, you're kind of like dizzy with like stuff. You're like, what? But just keep at it, right? Like, we're still at this stage of the game 10 years in. There's just nuances. And the beauty of it is you'll learn what you need to learn when you need to learn it, right?
Yeah. And it's fun too when we get together, just even as presidentials, I hear us having the same conversations that you're probably having with your upline. Where would you place this individual? And we work through the same conversations that
Don't tell them that.
the same conversations you're working through. So make sure you reach out to trusted individuals.
Well, so the reality check, Justin, right, is that placement is still, it's never a perfect science. You never get better at it because you get to literally, in a sense, prejudge the future of your relationship, of this interaction, and what this individual will create and what you can create together.
Well, and so much, and this leads perfectly into our next topic, is so often people will say that they're going to do X, Y, Z,
Right.
and as you know, that doesn't necessarily mean it will happen, right?
Yes.
And so it comes to that question of, Laura, how do I find my builders?
Right? Okay,
How do I find builders? I hear this question so much.
Yeah, how do I find them? How do I keep them? How do I love on them? How do I grow them? Like, it's like, of all the mentoring questions we get, like, we get to end, right? We've climbed Mount Everest together, or maybe I have to make it that big. We've climbed Mount Everest together. I was thinking that was kind of exhilarating. I love this discussion. I really, really do. And, you know, I just want to preempt where we're about to go. I just want to prepare your heart and your mind in this way. I think for people who feel like they're suffering in this topic, one, they're limiting themselves, or they're limiting the potential of people. So we've already, I think Casey earlier was so good to tell us when we're writing our names list, don't prejudge. And so that would be the first filter we would give you going into this conversation. The second filter is, this is a two-way contract. And the disappointments come so often because of how we cared for them. Remember, the fortune is in the follow-up. People don't know what they don't know. Their commitment and their capacity is hinged on the environment that we create. So if we can go all the way back to the beginning and we said, hey, you want to invent your own system, knock yourself out. The reason why we're here and we're doing this with you is we want you to have time freedom. Casey, I heard you say you'd like a little bit more time, which means you could take a new builder, send them to this training, let them have 4 hours of exposure, and then it doesn't have to go from your lips to their ears. They can go back and review it. They can watch it an hour at a time. So be really strategic, but understand that as we move into this, we're to the repeat portion of what Justin taught us. It's use, share, teach, repeat. So now we're into repeat because duplication is the magic. So just have a couple filters in your mind moving into this, like what's your place, what's your mindset. It will totally determine your outcome here.
Absolutely. So I've heard this one. Is it a numbers game?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Did you hear that from all of us? We all said yes. Yes.
Numbers game? Yes, very much so. So we're back to page Success is Scheduled, which is page 6 of the launch guide. We wanted to remind you that this is the time to remember the bottom of the funnel. This is just our average stats. Again, what is it again? Results will vary, right? Results will vary. So average with 45 invites, 30 people presented to, 15 enrollments, approximately 3 people out of 15, again, statistically in doTERRA, will have an interest in creating a business.
So maybe you've already invited this many. If you haven't found those builders yet, just keep going a little bit further. Statistically, 1 to 2 out of every 10 are interested in building doTERRA. So sooner or later, you're going to find those builders.
For sure.
So really it's up to you. The amount of traffic you have in your pipeline will determine the outcome. So if you have just a trickle of water moving through, you're going to have a trickle of results. If you have a stream going through your pipeline, you're going to have a stream of results. If you have a powerful
turn up the flow, right?
right?
Turn up the flow. If you want to find more builders, turn up the flow in your pipeline.
Well, and the more builders you have, the more your pipeline grows, right? So if you try to do this by yourself and you're just taking care of a bunch of customers only, then you aren't experiencing the gift of duplication.
You get clear on your goal here and the intention. Yeah, I love how it outlines, set a goal to find these 3 builders during your first 30 to 90 days. The sooner that you have those builders, then these builders can become your business partners and placement and everything else starts lining up a little easier.
Well, essentially, if you don't have any wellness advocates under you and you keep enrolling and enrolling and enrolling, the only thing you can have is a string of customers on your front line.
Mhm.
So it's really imperative to compensation that
Right.
you must seek out wellness advocates in your life. And, you know, maybe early on it's your mom and your sister, right? And they
Right.
become the first wellness advocates on your team, and you're placing customers under them. And then over time, you're perfecting your and sometimes they could become the best builders on your team.
Right.
Other times they
Mhm.
remain casual, but at least you're creating something while you're out there seeking
Yeah.
your greater.
So many times we get distracted looking for the perfect builder. Like I'm looking for just that right person. They're going to walk in, they're going to be sharp, they're going to be professional, they're going to be able to dazzle the crowd. And so we spend all this energy banging our heads against the wall looking for that person when we have this entire army of customers and maybe sharers that we could develop amazing leaders from that group, but we're not even looking at them because we're distracted looking for the builder.
Oftentimes in doTERRA,
Oh,
the
man.
best builders and leaders are not born. They're
Oh.
made in the
Yes.
process.
Amen.
Develop.
Amen. They develop from our
Develop.
existing group. And so the moral in that is don't miss out on amazing leaders that just,
Love up, inspire, care for, right? This is all about the support.
yeah,
And
I
asking. I mean, the trend that I see, generally speaking, when people are covered in customers, is they just have never asked. They don't even know what to say, and we've just provided you with, you know, all the tools that you need. So ask.
Real quick, let's just tell a little story. So when Natalie and I started, again, I'd already been in the wellness industry as a professional running a wellness center for 12 years. Natalie was new. She'd actually been my student. She'd come to my holistic health coaching class multiple times and was working it at home, right? She was being a solutions provider at home while I'm being a solutions provider in my business. Now, when she brought me to doTERRA to meet the owners, I mean, again, there's like 1,100 of us, so you could do that kind of stuff back then. And we walked out the door. She said to them, I'm going to do this big. Now, she'd never done network marketing before. I had done it 11 times. 11 times I had tried this and failed. So what did it take? Natalie, my inexperienced upline, calling me and nudging me every month. Like, oh, did you know if you did this, you could earn your power of 3? I finally got it 9 months in, right? And then it was her nudging me. I treated doTERRA as a hobby for 2 years. Natalie got to it. She got to it with commitment. She didn't let her lack of experience in the business or the product stop her. Her team is over 4 times larger than mine, and she's always out-earned me double because she simply got to it sooner. And I think I love our story, that although I had the quote-unquote more experience, she had the commitment. Okay, I was looked at as having the capacity, and yet look at her. She's the top earner in the company, and I love that she models that for us because Natalie models exactly what you're looking for. She is the essence of this slide, committed and capable, right? She had the commitment of a warrior or a warrioress, right? And her capacity was in being herself. That what Natalie believed in was being a solutions provider in her home, and she believed that other people could do it as well. And that is the mission she's moved from the beginning and continues to, and that is what inspired the masses on her team to join the forces because they could see themselves in it. And that there could not be a better example in doTERRA. And so remember, this is a two-way relationship. It's a contract. We have a part and the person has their part. So thank you to Elise Chedevi, who helped to put this into words for us, and she helped us qualify this. So what does committed mean and what does capable mean?
And I love what you outlined, Laura, that anybody can choose to be committed. And so for each of you listening right now, you can be completely committed, and you're watching for that commitment in the people that you sign up by them just completing those 3 steps in the build guide.
And for a reminder, what are those 3 steps?
They were to, you know, we started out with that at the very beginning. They're the first 3 bubbles at the very beginning, right? It has, number 1 is do a natural solutions class and have a lifestyle overview. Number 2 is go through the share guide and learn how to share and invite. Number 3 is hop into the launch and start launching your business.
So we can say a big congratulations to whoever's on.
Because you've all done it.
Because we've made the assumption that you're actually in step 3, and if you weren't exposed to the possibility, like we want to encourage you to go back and make sure you've been exposed to any steps that may And hey, don't think that anything's wrong that you're here. It's just if any of those got skipped in your process, make sure you have those in your
So you have
quiver.
a strong foundation.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then being capable is simply someone that enrolls someone on their own in the first 14 days of committing to build. And that's just one way to
Right.
measure that, right?
Mhm.
I think we're all capable in lots of ways, but that's a great indicator of capacity.
But really, honestly, you don't have to go through all this training to enroll someone. So that's the idea. Is capacity looks like just kind of figuring out how to place an order like we do online, right? It's a simple process, and being able to walk someone through that.
They've taken the initiative to go and do it,
Right.
regardless of how much they've been taught to this point. Yeah,
That's what we're looking
for sure. So as we're digging for those developing, let me change that word, as we're developing those leaders, those business partners, looking for our team captains is a phrase that I like to use often. We do want to keep our eyes and ears open for certain attributes and skill sets. And to me, and you see a whole list here on the left of, ideal candidates, right? People that are relationship oriented. They are open to a natural, healthy, active lifestyle, goal-oriented, ambitious, positive, passionate. Are they an entrepreneur? Are they in a phase of life that can support a business? Are they looking to improve their finances or better their future? I mean, any number of these, if someone possesses them, are a huge plus, right? That we might include them on this list to the right of potential business partners. To me, the number one thing is, are they hungry for change? And obviously, I don't mean hunger as in food, but are they hungry for some aspect of their life to change, whatever it is? And do they have any of these other attributes? And these are the people I'm going to put in that potential business partner column, and then be working with them to see if they will fit into that role.
Yeah, because you're really looking for people that you want to partner with, that you want to build this business with long term. I always ask people, if you could work with anyone, who would it be? And you're just going to fill this in with some of those ideas, and maybe those people are already coming to your mind. They don't have to have all of the things in that list over the side, just any of them.
Right. And you can use your name list that you've already created, because we did that earlier, as a springboard to put names in this new group of potential business partners or team captains. Who are the people that come to mind? And let's get them in the conversation and in the pipeline.
One technique that you can do on the Success Tracker page, and we'll kind of leave you with this homework to do, is go down that list that Justin just read through and put tally marks by some of the people that you've listed out here, right? And those names that have the most tally marks next to them might be the most successful builders or business partners that you might want to approach in that way of, hey, we're doing this. Do you want to partner with us?
Absolutely. So we're going to invite you as homework, because we're almost out of time, and we're going to wrap up here in a few minutes. But as homework, to really look through that list and identify your potential business partners. And some of them might be on your chicken list.
Go for it.
So
right?
absolutely go for it.
I just want to reiterate that those prompts in that orange box, the bullets, are such good triggers, right? The ones you had on the previous slide. Like really, other way. Those, there we go. Those bullet points there, those are your, like, again, every word in the guide has been crafted for you. We've been thinking about you at every step of the way to make sure you're as prepared and as nudged in the right direction possible. So these are just great things to get your mind going. And I love this tie between your Success Tracker list and this list, because now you can go, that's why, again, why take the time to write that list? Because you're going to work that list in multiple ways and let it work for you and really be in touch. Plus, if you can put these into your conscious mind, then not only are you going to be able to spot people on your Success Tracker list, but you're going to be able to spot people in life.
Right.
Because somebody's going to stand out to you. You're going to be in a conversation, and maybe it's somebody at church. Maybe it's the neighbor next door. Maybe it's the woman in line with you at the grocery store. It can be anywhere. But because you're conscious about these bullets, you're suddenly going to find yourself recognizing possibilities better than you would have had you not taken the time to think those
And
things through.
attracting that, right?
And
You're going
attracting
to be
that.
a builder magnet
Yes.
because of that awareness.
So don't miss this idea here at the bottom. Go to your success tracker and tally, right? When you write those names down. Did you guys already say that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, I'm just reiterating. Okay, we're down to the bottom half of the bottom half of the bottom half. So the second part of find your builders is now what do you do with them, right? And so this is just a reminder to take them through the business overview with the build guide.
Right? And that process is so natural and so
Right.
simple. Again, you know, what I love about even this whole launch training is you didn't even need us to be here, right? We breathed life into a few of these things, but the essentials are here in the launch. Just as in this process of sharing the opportunity, the essentials are in the build guide. You open it up, you breathe life into it, you share your experiences, and you're going to inspire them.
There's some really yummy things right here because our whole goal was how could we say the most in the fewest amount of words. So pay attention to the last sentence in the paragraph. Knowing their desires. So again, you would have asked questions through all that inviting process. Knowing their desires helps you connect their goals to doTERRA's solutions. And in this case, it's an opportunity solution. So now you have 3 steps. Get the message in front of them, whether it's one-on-one or group. Invite them at the right time, right? Because remember, inviting is earned. Invite them at the right time to become your partner. And then where do we find ourselves? We find ourselves where we began, which is we're back to the
in the
3
build
steps in the build guide. And the last sentence, knowing, really goes with that Tony Robbins quote. In order to influence someone, you need to know what already influences them. So this is that connection part, is care enough to know so then you can make the natural, and it's okay if like this doesn't work for everyone, right? So this is you looking for people who are looking for your offers, for your solutions, for your opportunity, knowing how to connect them for them. Okay, very last.
There you go. What to do next?
If you got a
after the
commitment,
build
now
guide,
what happens?
we're going to go straight to launch.
Yeah. Well, aren't we where Justin taught us? Use, share, teach, repeat.
Repeat.
Right? So we're back to where we spent our whole day, which is a launch overview. So obviously inviting that process and then also inviting weekly interactions with success check-ins to make sure that people know their steps of success and they know how to measure them.
And this is so key because, you know, in this process, we don't just have, you know, we do the business overview and then we do the launch overview and then see you, have a great doTERRA experience. We don't drop them off, right? This is where we stick with each other and we support each other through this process by doing those weekly check-ins. So there is accountability, these steps and the progress are measured, and they just feel the support, right? That partnership doesn't just happen in a moment. It continues.
Well, and I think we would never expect a pro athlete or even a 9-year-old athlete for that matter to just be like, okay, here's a bat, here's a ball, here's a couple ideas on how to swing, help you figure it out, and then leave them to their own. That there's a whole process of growing and becoming and measuring results, just like we talked about on your success tracker, looking at, am I converting invites to presentations? Am I converting presentations to enrollments? And if you're not checking in with your person, remember, they don't know what they don't know. And so a lot of this is, and you don't have, everything doesn't have to be lips to ears. It's how can we connect them with the tools and trainings and things that we have so that they're feeling more exposed, more educated, and more capable.
And the last line here is really powerful. Ultimately, supporting them in reaching their goals is going to help you reach yours. So, you know, if you do like Tony Robbins said, help enough people get what they want, you'll always get what you want.
Right.
So this process is so powerful.
All right, so everything's kind of cyclical for us today,
Yep,
right?
there we go.
This is where
Back to where we
began.
started.
Exactly. So congratulations, you have now experienced all 5 steps to launch, and like Natalie and Justin said, you have tons of support and ways to get educated here, and our goal today was to breathe life into this process with you. We hope that hearing our voices and our experience brings you comfort, encouragement, and passion, that you feel totally empowered to go and do this.
We also hope that as you look back on in the very beginning, when we asked you to consider your level of commitment, right? You've done that between then and now, and to reassess that and look at that and say, is this really my level of commitment? You know, where do I see myself in this business? And who am I going to inspire and challenge to be inspired in the process?
Well, look at how you've qualified yourself to go back and anchor your commitment again because you've spent this 4 hours learning about the business. You're more qualified to even rate your own commitment as a result of that.
Right.
And the lives that you'll change as a result of this. I mean, if we could just be witnesses of what's going to flow out from the decisions that you make today and the decisions that you make as you go forward in implementing what we've talked about today, they're going to change so many lives, especially your own.
Really the purpose of Launch Camp and the Launch Guide are to create an elite factory, right? To really, to help people reach the rank of elite in as short as a time as possible, because it's a domino effect. If you look at our compensation plan, elites create silvers, silvers create platinums and diamonds, and then it just rolls forward from there, right? So if we all get really good at launching and getting people to elite, it's just a simple process. Elites, silvers, platinums, diamond, boom.
So maybe our invitation is whoever you are, whatever rank you are, we invite you to experience this launch process for yourself. Go out and do this. Truly launch yourself to elite, understand this process, and then your next step will really be to launch 3 builders to elite. Pass it on, right?
Absolutely.
That's all you're doing.
Well, and we really want to represent that we are where we are, not because we were superhuman, not because we have special powers, but because we have lovingly poured it took a lot for us to get conscious about what we did, right? We just did what we did. And we have taken years to dissect the process because a lot of things for all of us in life, like just think about you driving a car. Everyone listening has their own magical place in their life where they shine. And, you know, some of you can paint and some do photography. Like, put a camera in front of me. Well, first of all, I'm going to need my reading glasses. And second of all, it's going to be a whole bunch of dials that I have no idea what they do. And aptitude and all that kind of stuff, although I might know the word, I have no idea how to even set it on a camera. So everybody has an expertise that they've acquired. And what's beautiful about the doTERRA experience is the level of expertise to be successful is simple. And that's what you've experienced today. And to your point, Justin, it's about duplicating this process. This is the magic right here. This is what we do. We get, connected to people in their lives. We care about them. We invite them to change their lives. And this is how we've changed our own. And we've simply engaged in that process committedly with increasing capacity over time, right? And just starting out with such simple skills. We knew so little compared to what you're learning. And honestly, we feel like you have that much more possibility for achievement and for time freedom that maybe over the years we've given that time freedom into creating systems because we really want that for you. It's our hope for you.
So focus in what you find right here in the launch guide so that you can have this elite nailed and then duplicate to silver, and the next step is just to duplicate to platinum, and this will be a powerful launch.
So what's fun is if you go back to those 3 images of use, share, teach, repeat, look at how the volume of income goes up just from following the wisdom of our master distributor, Justin Harrison, is in the room. Justin is in the room. And I'm telling you, trust the guy. He knows what he's talking about. And by engaging in those simple steps, this is how you reach this kind of income. And this is what we've really shown you at the Sorting Hat is you have the ability to earn money to pay for your product, you have the ability to earn money to supplement your income, and you have the ability to replace and multiply your income. And these 3 ranks here are beautiful at demonstrating that. So Justin, drum roll, the very back page, no better person to quote himself than you.
Quote myself, that feels weird. We use oils, we share oils, and we teach others to do the same. Right? You, share, teach, repeat.
Yep.
And I hope that I think I speak for all of us, and that we feel huge amount of gratitude that you have spent this time with us, that you've invested this time with us today, or in the recordings that will be posted on doTERRA's website later. It's been our honor and privilege to be with you, and we hope that you have sensed that doTERRA is far more than just a company, but is really a cause that's changing the world. We're excited to be on this journey with you. We love you. We appreciate you more than you know, all your efforts and energy, and we only wish you the maximum success possible. Thanks, everyone.
Amen, brother. Now go launch your business.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go launch.
Woo!